Hello friends, this is your friend back with a new fanfic. What if Jiraiya taught Naruto more than summoning? If you like this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's start. Chapter 1, Meeting the Beast. Amazing. To think that he fought in the prelims 2 days ago and started water walking yesterday with half of his chakra sealed and his control down the tubes, and yet when his chakra is normal, he can't even manage to summon a baby toad. Why is it that he can't expel enough chakra at once to summon, when he can make 1,000 clones? Thought Jiraiya as he looked away from the beautiful young woman swimming in the lake next to the clearing that Naruto was training in. Maybe it's the fox. When Kyuubi was fully sealed away, he had better chakra control. Maybe Kyuubi is messing with his control somehow. Gah! Another tadpole. What am I doing wrong? Questioned Naruto to himself, unaware that Jiraiya was in the tree behind him. Maybe Naruto should meet the fox. Mito once said that she would visit the fox every so often, and Kushina got to the point that she could use the fox's pure chakra. Single quote. Kushina was known as the Red Death because of her hair, and when she was ever in a pinch, she would start to radiate red chakra. Only Minato, Jiraiya and old man Sarutobi knew that it was actually the fox and not some genjutsu or fire nature chakra. How did those two manage to do it, I wonder? Could it be that they took the fox's power? Oh well, here goes nothing. Even if it doesn't work, I'll just teach him the trick to shadow clone training. Naruto, what would you say if I told you there was a way you could summon the Toad Boss? Asked Jiraiya as he looked down on Naruto from a tree. That he was using to peek on girls. I would do it. I can't let that Tem stay better than me. Shouted an excited, yet very tired Naruto. It was a fact that Naruto hated Sasuke, not because of the special training he got from Kakashi, or even that fact that he was admired, but for the fact that Sasuke had everything handed to him, and never had to actually work for anything. Good, follow me, stated Jiraiya as he leapt from the tree and started jogging towards the far end of the training area, Naruto close behind, but having to sprint to keep up with the shockingly fast older man. After only a few minutes of running, which turned out to be about 2 miles, much to Naruto's shock, they arrived at a rather deep canyon. Naruto was panting and cursing at Jiraiya for running so fast, while Jiraiya simply summoned a small gray toad. Gamata, can you inform Sensei that me and Naruto will be training in Foster Canyon for the remainder of the month, and ask him to send the Anbu that guards Naruto? The toad simply nodded and proved off to the Hokage's office to deliver his message. Naruto, what did you feel when you used the fox's chakra? Questioned Jiraiya. Naruto's eyes widened in shock. Well. When I saw Sasuke go down, I got really angry, but when I was trying to save Sasuke and Sakura from Snake Face, I don't know. It was weird, like I wasn't fighting for myself, like I was fighting for something more. Naruto, we're going to the bottom of this canyon, and you're going to talk to the fox, stated Jiraiya. Why would I? He's made my life hell. The only thing he's good for is when I get hurt, and it's usually his fault anyway. Stated Naruto loudly. Well, would you rather switch places? That demon in your gut has probably been staring at the same thing for the last 70 years. You don't know this, but that fox has been sealed 3 times now, and the only time it's been out, it was immediately attacked. Put yourself in that position, stated Jiraiya as if that explained everything, though at most it raised further questions. What? I thought I was the only one to ever carry this stupid thing. Shouted Naruto. Naruto, you're not the only person in the world that has a demon sealed inside of them, stated Jiraiya. I'm not. Questioned Naruto. No. In fact, it's so common that there's a name for them. Jinchuriki, the power of human sacrifice, you've met one of them. Gaara of the desert is a Jinchuriki, stated Jiraiya, a sad smile on his face. But he's the son of the Cage. Why would he have a demon sealed inside of him? Questioned Naruto. Most Jinchuriki are related to cages or important people. In Kumo, the container of the 8 tails is a man by the name of Killer Bee, the Raikage's brother. There is another container in Kumo, a blonde woman, I don't know her name or what beast she holds. I'll be honest, the only reason I even know about her is because she caught me peeping, stated Jiraiya, a stupid perverted grin on his face. Guessing she beat the shit out of you. Laughed Naruto. Actually, she asked me to sign her book and not use her in any of my books, stated Jiraiya. What? There's actually a girl out there that reads your books? Asked Naruto. Shut up, Gaki. We're getting off topic. It's your duty as a Jinchuriki to at the very least be able to use your curse, stated Jiraiya seriously. I still don't want to. If it's not my own power, then I don't want to have it, stated Naruto adamantly. Naruto, by that logic, you wouldn't use a kunai or a sword or shuriken or a senbon, stated Jiraiya. Huh, why do you say that? Asked a confused Naruto. It's simple. That demon sealed in your gut is nothing but a tool. If used wrong it can kill you, if you don't learn to use it, it can kill you and everyone around you, and it's one of the best trump cards out there. Seeing Naruto's confusion, Jiraiya slapped his forehead and elaborated, your demon can heal you. If you learn to control its chakra, you could take anything but a killing blow and keep fighting. Imagine that, a Hokage that can take any blow in stride and always come through in the end. Good lord, this kid is more stubborn than his old man and his mother. Minato, Kushina, what do I do to make your son understand? Thought Jiraiya. So, it's just a tool, like a kunai or a sword? Questioned Naruto. I could always just not use it unless I really need it. Well, that was easy. I'll have to. Remember to just relate everything to him being Hokage from now on, thought Jiraiya. Yes, although a much more robust and powerful tool. And just like any weapon, you have to learn to use it, and unlike other weapons, you will have to earn the right to use this tool. So, how do I go about doing this? Asked Naruto. When I first met Killer Bee, he said he had a mental connection with his beast. Also, it was said that Yagura, the fourth Mizukage, had such control over his beast that he could fully transform into it. Stated Jiraiya, more to himself than anything. I guess that you might be able to travel into the seal and speak to him. At the very least, you could ask him to use his chakra whenever you wanted. And how do I do that? Asked Naruto. Like this, shouted Jiraiya as he pushed Naruto over the edge of the massive canyon. Jiraiya then followed after his blonde student, ready to catch him when he finally entered the seal. Or at least before he hit the ground. Meanwhile, Naruto was freaking out. God damn it, how the hell is this supposed to help me? Questioned Naruto as he felt a pull in the back of his mind and blacked out. He was then promptly caught by Jiraiya, and taken to the bottom of the canyon. Mindscape. Where am I? How the hell did I get in a sewer? Asked Naruto as he looked around his surroundings. Seeing that one end of the sewer was bright and the other was dark, he decided to go towards the light. I swear to God, pervy sage, if I'm dead I'm going to haunt you for the rest of your life. I can help with that, came a deep booming voice from where Naruto was heading, but first, I believe we have much to discuss. Naruto walked up in front of a large gate, easily 50 feet tall. Behind the gate, two huge blood-red eyes and orange ears were visible. Are you Kyuubi? No, I'm the Easter Bunny. No shit, I'm Kyuubi. Now what is it you want? I hate talking to humans, so make it quick before I choose to eat you. My sensei sent me here so that I could make a connection with you and maybe request the use of some of your chakra. But I have another reason for wanting to speak to you, stated Naruto with confidence and resolve that honestly shocked the chakra entity. Ha 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 ha, and what exactly do you want to know? Depending on the questions, I may let you use some of my chakra. Well, I have a couple of questions. I guess my first is, why does my mind look like a sewer? The second is, why did you attack the village the night I was born? And the third, who were your other hosts? And four, outside of letting you go, what can I do to make you more comfortable while you're here? I don't know why your mind is a sewer, maybe it's because of your mindset. I was being controlled when I attacked the village. I refuse to go into any more detail than that. My first host was the man who first sealed me, Hashirama's wife. I believe her name was Mito. The second was a woman named Kushina. Reminds me a lot of you, fiery temper, skilled, wanted to be Hokage. Then there's you. Now if you truly want to make my life inside of this seal better, you could give me access to your senses. I'm tired of living closed off from the world. You could also change the size of this cage. It may seem big to you, though I can barely move in this place, stated a much calmer and even friendlier sounding Kyuubi. How would I do that? Asked Naruto, his curiosity skyrocketed by the suddenly not so terrifying Kyuubi. It's your mind kit. If I knew I would tell you, my best guess is that if you concentrate hard enough, you can move these things at your will. Naruto closed his eyes and barely a second later, a pulse ripped through his mindscape, shredding everything in its path. Then a second pulse went through his mindscape, turning it into one giant cave with about a dozen doors on both sides and a small path in the back of the cave with a large blinking exit sign above it. Then, Kyuubi's cage expanded in all directions, forming a large grassy valley, surrounded on all sides by mountains and of course the large gate that made up the seal. Kyuubi was shocked. Not only was it beautiful, it was also brilliant. With mountains on all sides, it didn't truly feel like he was trapped anymore. The grass felt great on his paws, there was a massive tree in the back that looked like it would be great for napping under, and finally, because of the drop-off, Naruto and Kyuubi now stood eye to eye. That's when Kyuubi felt it. He could feel everything going on around Naruto, the perverted one setting up camp. A small fox was currently staring at Naruto from afar. Somewhere, a blonde with large was losing a lot of money. A snake was cutting open an orange, a scarecrow was creating a lot of lightning and a bowl-cut man was somehow doing push-ups with his chin. Wow, that was easier than I thought, stated Naruto. You have proven yourself to me, Kit. I'm going to give you a gift, but first, I must tell you of my origins. Kit, questioned Naruto. You've just done more for me than any human since the man that created me. You see, all 9 Biju are all originally from one being. An ever-powerful beast that created the oceans and continents. It was the Jubi. It had no emotions, no thoughts, it was just a giant mass of immeasurable energy. That is until it was sealed into a single man. On the Mon's deathbed, he released the Jubi, separated its power from its body and used it to create the 9 Biju. Each of us have a power from the great beast. Mine is its ability to harness natural energy and convert it to my own, so I can never run out. My last container earned enough of my respect to use just under a tail of my power. You on the other hand have earned everything. I'm giving you full, unrestricted control of all of my powers. And my true name, Kit, is Kurama. Chapter 2, Gifts, What? Asked Naruto with an unreadable expression. I'm going to give you full control of my powers, my chakra, my senses, hell, even my techniques, though you'll have to modify them, trailed of Kurama as it sat in the middle of the cage, pondering how a tiny boy would be able to perform his 2 best attacks. Really? Why? Asked Naruto. He had never really been given anything, other than his goggles and his wallet. Because Kit, you've done more for me than almost anyone else. You earned my respect, when you made my life easier, even though you could have made it even worse. Plus it's pointless having basically unlimited chakra go to waste, stated Kurama. What about that other stuff? You said all your powers and senses as well, questioned Naruto. For the love of Kami, you ask a lot of questions. At least this way I won't have to explain as much later. Other than pure chakra, each tailed beast got a power, or in my case, several. The first I already told you about, being able to gather natural energy, though it's only when I don't move. The second, as a mass of rage and hatred myself, I can sense negative emotions, as well as any chakra-producing beings, and in some cases, even what their intentions are based on their chakra flow. The third, is rapid regeneration. My chakra, contrary to what you may think, is a multiplier. Anything exposed to my chakra kicks into overdrive. Say you get a huge gash on your arm, send my chakra to it, and it will heal several times faster. You can also use it on muscles to increase your power and speed, and even on your eyes, brain and nervous system, so that you can react it much faster, stated Kyuubi. That's so cool. Thank you Lord Kurama, yelled Naruto in glee. Hold up Kit, don't call me Lord, it irritates me. Second, you will have to work for it. As you will have to separate my chakra from me, stated Kurama. Huh, why do I have to do that? Wouldn't that hurt you? Questioned Naruto. Because, my rage and malice are intertwined with my chakra. If you break that connection, you can use the full dose of my chakra without losing it like you did on the bridge, stated Kurama, though I doubt you will be able to use a full dose of the bat. You're going to need chakra control exercise to manipulate the flow of my chakra and regulate it, otherwise it will throw off everything and leave you extremely vulnerable. Okay, that makes sense, but how do I do it? Asked Naruto. Pull the seal off the gate, connect with my chakra and pull it out of me, stated Kurama. Hold the hell up. I have to remove my seal. You would just escape then. Stated Naruto. No, the seal on the gate is the barrier seal that keeps me from attacking you. The full seal is probably hidden somewhere that neither of us are aware exists. If you don't believe me, look at the seal on the door. Does it look anything like the one on your gut? Questioned Kurama. Naruto drew a blank as he looked at the seal on the cage. Kurama was right, where the one on his gut was a spiral, this one was a kanji for barrier. So I just pull this off and then I take your chakra. More or less. Well, here it goes, stated Naruto as he reached up and pulled the seal off the cage. Outside world. You requested me, Lord Jiraiya. Questioned a cat-masked Anbu, both men standing at the bottom of Foster Canyon, next to the large stream that ran down the middle. Tenzo, there's no need to be so formal with me. If I didn't care when I found you in Orochimaru's lab, I don't care now, stated Jiraiya. Fine, you requested me, Jiraiya. Questioned Tenzo as he took his mask off, revealing a brown-haired man with coal-black eyes and a helmet-style forehead protector. Yes, I'm going to be helping Naruto in using Kyuubi's chakra, and I want you here in case something goes wrong, stated Jiraiya. But he's only 12. Surely he can't be ready yet. What about the fox's influence? Questioned Tenzo. Well, 1, that's why you're here, 2, he's used it before, and 3, we both know that he is not your standard 12-year-old, stated Jiraiya. So, when do we being, and what will we be doing? Questioned Tenzo. Well, if Naruto can obtain a portion of Kyuubi's chakra, we will be training in that. On top of that, we're going to use shadow clones to begin fixing the flaws in his taijutsu, try and teach him some genjutsu, or at least how to break them, and I'll start teaching him the Rasengan, listed off Jiraiya. You can do that with shadow clones. I thought they only transferred memory. Stated Tenzo. Ah, but muscle memory is just that, memory. I'm still not sure how I should go about teaching him taijutsu though, stated Jiraiya. What do you mean? He seems perfect for Lord Yondaimi's flash fist, all we would have to do is bring his speed up. Stated Tenzo, already exited to train the boy he had watched over as an infant. No, he's like me, too unpredictable to have a set taijutsu style, and his in-battle intelligence when coming up with plans, from what Kakashi told me and from what I saw at the preliminaries, I believe is even greater than Itachi's. I'm thinking of just having him learn a bunch of strikes, blocks, dodges, counters and maybe even counter-counters if we have time. He can piece together a working combo in a fight, stated Jiraiya. Tenzo was stunned, he was a few years older than Itachi and remembers clearly just how intelligent the man was when he was partnered with him under Kakashi. To hear that a genin, even one with Naruto's parentage, was even greater than the prodigy, or as many knew him, slaughterer of the Uchiha, was mind-blowing. Kakashi-senpai said that. No, but from the report that was written, in less than 2 seconds, Naruto came up with a plan that forced Zabuza Momochi to release Kakashi when he got caught in a water prison. I've also watched the tape from his match in the Chunin exams when he beat the Inuzuka with a fart and an improvised taijutsu move he saw once from another genin, stated Jiraiya with a smirk. Well, we can both teach him the strikes and blocks to the clones as they learn chakra control, how to break genjutsu and the beginning of the Rasengan. Unknown. Minato-kun, he released the barrier. Which one of us should go? Asked Kushina with tears in her eyes, knowing that he would say himself, and it would be the last time she ever saw him. Neither of us will go, stated Minato calmly as he watched his son struggle with all his might to pull the chakra from the beast, and surprisingly, was almost an eighth the way done. He had to admit, this was going way faster than he expected. Idiot. Why wouldn't one of us go? He needs help, stated Kushina angrily. He's fine, dear. Look, the Kyuubi is letting him take its chakra. Why go now when he doesn't need us and risk not being there when he truly does? Questioned Minato. Kushina knew her husband was right, and that her little Naruto didn't need them at the moment, but goddammit, she wanted to be there for this. You better hope to Kami that he needs us more at some point, because if he doesn't, I'm going to kill you. Sorry dear, I'm already dead, and so are you, stated Minato cheekily. Fine, I'll just use my 1,000 years of painful death, stated Kushina. With Naruto and Kurama. Come on Kit, you're almost halfway there, ground out the fox, who was beginning to feel the immense strain that went along with having your chakra forcibly removed. Naruto said nothing as he continued to rip the chakra from the massive beast. With strained eyes he watched as the fox began to wither to skin and bones. The fox apparently knew what the young blonde was thinking as it ground out, "I'll recover, just whatever you do not stop. The backlash will kill us both. Now keep going, you're almost there." Naruto grunted as he gave another big pull, but to no avail as he only succeeded in gaining another notch of chakra. "Come on, god damn it," shouted Naruto as he gave another big pull, this time succeeding in loosening Kyuubi's grasp on its chakra. "You're close, Kit. One more pull." Outside world. Tenzo and Jiraiya were standing under a dome that Tenzo had made as a shelter from the rain that had started just minutes ago. "Jiraiya, just how potent is Kyuubi's chakra? I've never actually needed to suppress it, so I'd like to have a heads up for when he uses it. We both know the feeling that chakra gives off. You were young at the time, but I'm sure you remember when it attacked," stated Jiraiya. Tenzo nodded. "Well, as powerful as it felt, just imagine it being twice as strong." Tenzo stood shocked. He remembered it being unreal how strong the fox was, to be twice as strong as that. Suddenly, a burst of pure power emanated from the sleeping boy beside them. But as fast as it came, it was gone. Well, guess he succeeded. Wonder how much he got the Kyuubi to cough up. Mindscape. Naruto stood in awe of the giant floating orb of red chakra that now completely lit up the cave in a sunset-like glow. Kurama wasn't much better, as it shakily stood and looked at its own chakra, which it somehow could still feel, hovered about 10 feet in the air on the far right side of the cave, 8 pillars surrounding it. "Kurama, are you okay?" questioned Naruto, seeing the fox roughly the size of a small house, and still skin and bones. "Yay, Kit. Just need to withdraw some energy from the nature around us. I'll be back to full in about a year. If you use a lot of my chakra, it will take longer, but I'll be able to replenish whatever you use in roughly a month," panted Kurama. "Now if you don't mind, I need to sleep to regain energy at a decent rate." "When can I start using your chakra?" asked Naruto. "Whenever you want, though I wouldn't use any more than 2% flow at a time. It should just under 3 tails." "How is 2% 3 tails worth?" asked a confused Naruto. "My tails are unlike the other Biju. My first tail of my power is roughly 1/3%, my second is 2/3%. My third tail is roughly 1% and 1/3. It's exponential. Add the first 3 tails together and you get 2 1/3% of my chakra. That's why I'm so much more powerful than the other Biju." Naruto watched as the downsized fox staggered over to the giant tree behind it and lay down in the shade. "Okay, I'll let ya sleep. See you later, Kurama. Unknown. See Kushina-chan. I told you that he would be fine," stated Minato. "I know, I just wish there was some way we could help him out, or at least congratulate him," stated a sad Kushina. "If you wish, I can deliver a message to someone," stated a deathly-sounding voice behind the duo. The spun to see a translucent figure in all white with long white hair. "Shinigami-sama. It's not what it looks like," stated a startled Minato. "Be calm, Minato. I've known of you using the seal to watch your son's life. Do you forget that part of me is incorporated into it?" questioned the death god. Minato simply hung his head. "Now, as I see it, taking control of young Kyuubi's chakra is cause to celebrate. After all, he is the first human to do so in a very long time. What is the message you wish to deliver, and to whom? Tell my little boy that we're proud of him and that." "No," Kushina was cut off by Minato. "What do you mean no? I will you in the with my katana if you try to keep me from praising my baby," shouted Kushina, getting a sweat drop from the Shinigami. "He can't know about us yet. He's still at a troublesome stage in his life. I don't want his heritage going to his head," stated Minato. Kushina glared at him, but said nothing, understanding that Minato was right. "Shinigami-sama, could you possibly tell Hiruzen Sarutobi to give Naruto my old jacket and something from my wife? As well as the keys to our old apartment, after striping it of any pictures of me. He can leave everything of Kushina's. But of course, what would you like to give the boy?" questioned Shinigami as it looked at Kushina. "Everything in the apartment, as well as my specialty Konoha headband and my Uzu headband," stated Kushina with a small, but true smile. "As well as a letter from me, if you would, Shinigami-sama," stated a gruff, gravel-like voice. Jiraiya and Tenzo. Good to see you're awake, Gaki. How much chakra did you get? Questioned Jiraiya. From that burst of power earlier, I'm guessing a lot. A lot of what? Suddenly, two people dropped down from the dome and walked closer, showing themselves to be Kakashi and Sasuke. What are you two doing here? Questioned Naruto in a less than friendly tone. We're training upstream of here and felt the surge of power. We decided to check it out, stated Kakashi lazily. What was that power before? Demanded Sasuke, much to the displeasure of Naruto and Jiraiya. None of your business, Tem, stated Naruto coldly. Well, is it any of my business? Questioned Kakashi, getting a hateful glare from Naruto, which seemed to confuse Kakashi. It would have been your business, had you not ditched me 2 days ago to train Sasuke. If I remember right, something about, Sasuke needs my attention more than you do. Questioned Naruto. Jiraiya and Tenzo were shocked. Kakashi Hatake playing favorites. He was, team before self, how could he possibly play favorites? Kakashi-senpai, surely you didn't say that, did you? Questioned Tenzo. Yes, I said that, and Sasuke does need my attention more than Naruto does. If Naruto loses, he will live, if Sasuke loses, there's no way he would make it out alive, stated Kakashi. That's understandable, but how did you know Sasuke would be fighting Gaara? I mean, you've been giving him special training since we passed the bell test. Stated Naruto, his glare holding. I taught you all equally, it's not my fault that Sasuke is a faster learner than you, stated Kakashi. You taught me tree climbing. Other than that, all you've ever done is say I need better chakra control and then not tell me how to improve it. Stated Naruto as he started subconsciously drawing on Kyuubi's chakra, giving him a barely visible eerie glow. You should have done more tree climbing, stated Kakashi, that's more than enough for a genin. I find that hard to believe. Naruto learned water walking in less than 2 hours. If the Uchiha can learn faster than that, he would be a Jonin by now, stated Jiraiya, growing angrier and angrier at the silver-haired Jonin. Well, it took him almost 5 days to learn tree climbing, stated Kakashi. The Gaki has more chakra than you and Tenzo combined. An academy student can learn tree climbing. Tell me, when you have cage-level reserves, what would be harder? Tree climbing, or water walking? Stated Jiraiya. Peef, like the Dobi has more chakra than me, stated Sasuke. He does, in fact, he has as much as the Sandaime did when he trained me, stated Jiraiya. Now Kakashi, if you claim to have helped them the same, tell me, did you at least give him a scroll to help him train? In fact I did. I got Ebisu to train him, stated Kakashi confidently. He may not have been able to train his student, but Guy's old teammate was an elite instructor. Ebisu. Ebisu. You think that you helped him by getting Ebisu to train him? You were there when Ebisu openly stated that he hated Naruto. Shouted Jiraiya. Leave Kakashi, before I kill you myself. You're a disgrace to your sensei and to your father. Kakashi left without word, though it was easy to see he was shaking with rage. Sasuke followed after staring at Naruto for a second. Let's go see the old man. There's no way I'm teaching you anything with those two so close by, stated Jiraiya. Meanwhile, with Sarutobi, what was that surge of power? Surely Naruto hasn't learned to harness Kyuubi's power already, questioned Hiruzen as he moved to grab his crystal ball. Indeed he did, came a deathly voice behind Sarutobi. With speed he hadn't used in almost 10 years, Hiruzen had backflipped out of his chair and stabbed a kunai into the back of the man that had somehow got past all his anbu, only to find that the stab hadn't hit anything. Now Hiruzen, I'm not surprised you'd still be skilled, but was it really needed to attempt to kill me? Questioned the spectral figure. Shish Shinigami. Stuttered the old cage. Now Hiruzen, calm down, I'm not here to take you. Simply here to deliver a message from some people who have passed on, stated Shinigami. I've temporarily put your Anbu to sleep. So do not worry. Who? Questioned Hiruzen. Minato and Kushina, as well as a young man who also died before his time. Anyway, Minato says that he wants you to give his son his jacket, but don't inform him that he is Minato's son. Kushina wants you to give Naruto her old headbands, as well as their old apartment. After removing everything of Minato's that is, stated Shinigami as he dug into his robe and pulled out a folded sheet of paper. Here it is, give this to Naruto, tell him it came in from Wave yesterday. Farewell Hokage. As the spectral image of the Shinigami faded, it was replaced by Jiraiya. As Sarutobi shook his head to clear its cobwebs, he noticed that both Tenzo and Naruto were standing by his sides. "Old man, are you alright?" questioned Naruto. "Yes, I believe I am," stated the old man slowly before looking to Naruto. "What is your progress so far?" "Well, I met Kurama, changed his cage, he let me have his chakra, I took it, and now he's sleeping. He said it would take a lot of work to use his chakra to the max, but I should be able to use about 2% of it," stated Naruto, as three jaws hit the floor. "Hold the up Gaki. Kurama, how did you change his cage? He let you have his chakra. And 2%, how much is that?" questioned Jiraiya with wide eyes. In the corner the always quiet Tenzo was simply unable to do anything as his brain had shut down. In order. Kyuubi's real name is Kurama. It was my mindscape, so I just thought about it and it worked. He said that he liked me, and as thanks for making his life in my seal more bearable, he let me take his chakra," stated Naruto before he started scratching his head. He said something about each tale was exponential to the one before it, but I forgot the rest, hehe. "That's amazing, Naruto. Truly amazing," stated Sarutobi. "I have some things you should have. Your mother left me some things for you when I thought you ready. Also this came for you yesterday." Naruto looked dumbstruck as he took the folder piece of paper. My mother. But you said you didn't know who my parents were." "Gaki. Your mother was an S-class kunoichi. We couldn't let anyone know you were her child, or you could be in even more trouble than you ended up in," stated Jiraiya seriously. "She had many enemies in both Kumo and Kiri, as well as here in Konoha." "Who was she?" asked Naruto in a quiet voice. "Kushina Uzumaki. Konoha's Red Death," stated Jiraiya. Naruto just looked at Jiraiya in confusion. Sarutobi walked over to his personal bookcase and pulled out a small package. "Now Naruto, I'm sorry I waited till now to tell you of your mother. Her will that she left you is still intact, but will take about a week to gather. Until then, these are your mother's headbands." "Headbands? Like more than one?" questioned Naruto. "Yes. You see, your mother was originally from the village of Uzushiogakure. It was destroyed near the end of the Second Great War, and she came here. The spiral headband is an Uzushio headband," stated Sarutobi, holding up a plain headband with a vortex on it. He then held up another headband, this one a Konoha headband, but the metal was black, and the leaf symbol was red. "This headband is given to the commander of the Anbu. It's made of chakra-conductive metal and the red symbol symbolized your mother, the Red Death." Can I wear it?" asked Naruto. "Yes you may. We retired those style of headband from Anbu after your mother died, so there won't be any confusion," stated Sarutobi with a kind smile. "Now I believe I handed you a letter." Naruto looked at the piece of paper he had dropped on the floor and began to read it aloud. "Dear brat. Yay, it's for me. If you're reading this, then it's obvious that you survived and that I have not. I have decided that if you do indeed defeat Haku, as I'm sure you would be the one to do it, that you will continue my legacy and take my sword. Don't get all sappy on me, the only other choices I have is Hitaki and that water punk, and I'm sure as hell not giving my sword to a monkey or a puddle. Anyway, you are now the wielder of my sword. Don't worry, in our hideout, about 2 miles or so north of the bridge, is instructions and materials needed for the upkeep. Don't fail my judgment. Zabuza. P.S. You. He left me his sword," muttered Naruto before he passed out and collapsed to the floor, his mother's headbands in his left hand, the letter in his right. "Must have been too much for him," stated Tenzo, who had finally recovered enough to form full sentences. "I'd imagine that it would be. Finding out about your mother and being left the sword of Zabuza Momochi. I'd probably pass out too," stated Jiraiya, who had been reading over the blonde's shoulder. "Listen sensei. I'm gonna take Naruto to get that sword and train him along the way. I request that you assign Tenzo to me so that he can help with Naruto, training in Kyuubi's chakra." "Approved. While you're there perhaps you could improve relations," stated Sarutobi as he wrote up an order for a B rank retrieval mission. "That won't be a problem. We can get there in a day and spend 3 weeks training," stated Jiraiya, more to himself than anything. "Why would you be training there? Would it not be more beneficial to train here?" questioned the old man. Surprisingly, it was Naruto who answered. "Kurama's chakra is too powerful. The only safe place to train is in Foster Canyon, and the teams are training there. It wouldn't do me any good for Sasuke or Hatake to see anything I might learn. Why would you say that, Naruto? Kakashi is your sensei and Sasuke your teammate? Questioned Sarutobi. He had heard that Team 7 was close and that they had perfect teamwork. It was Jiraiya that filled in the blanks. I believe Kakashi is favoring Sasuke heavily. As you know, I've read every team progress report I could on the Gaki, and in every one it shows both the Gaki and his female teammate improve roughly the same and the Uchiha improving in leaps and bounds. Well, Sasuke is a genius. After all, he was Rookie of the Year, stated Sarutobi. I watched Naruto learn water walking in under an hour. Interrupted Jiraiya. Anyone who can learn water walking in an hour, and has reserves as big as you did 30 years ago, should have no problem learning anything with a capable instructor. Sarutobi's forehead crinkled at the thought of that. Even Tsunade had not learned water walking that fast. And he does indeed have monstrous reserves. Perhaps Kakashi has been playing favorites. But has he done anything detrimental to either student? He left me to train by myself for the finals, and when I confronted him about it, he brought me that closet pervert that says he's training Konohamaru, stated Naruto, a small amount of killing intent radiating off of the blonde. From this moment forth, Naruto, you are no longer part of Team 7. For now, I will have an investigation into Kakashi's behavior and teachings. That will tell us just how much he has played favorites, stated Sarutobi in an angered voice. For now, you three will go to Wave, train Naruto and be back here the day before the finals. Gigi. If I'm not on Team 7 anymore, who is my sensei? Questioned Naruto. Jiraiya will be. And when he isn't in the village, Tenzo will be. Seeing as you're getting a sword, he can teach you the basics. I will work on getting a suitable Kenjutsu teacher for you after the Chunin exams. Stated Sarutobi. Thank you, Gigi. Smiled Naruto. It's not a problem, Naruto. After all, I can't have the man that's going to replace me being held back, now can I? Smiled the old man, who once again got up and walked over to the cabinet to the right of the door and pulled out a scroll that had a yellow casing over it. The man that this belonged to would be proud of you. He would want you to have this. Please wait until you're on your way to Wave to open it. Is that all, old man? Questioned Jiraiya as he watched the blonde examine the scroll for a second before shrugging and placing it in his pocket. He watched as his old sensei nodded. All right, then we're off. See you in a month, sensei. At the gate. Okay, it's already getting late, so to get there as fast as possible, we're going to take a toad. So go ahead and summon one, stated Jiraiya. Pervy sage. I can't remember, stated Naruto. Just humor me, put as much in as you do for say, 100 clones, stated Jiraiya. Alright, here it goes. Summoning jutsu. A huge cloud of smoke enveloped the trio as they rocketed into the air. Hello, Jiraiya. Might I ask what you summoned me for? Asked the large scarlet-red frog. It wasn't me, Gamaken. It was young Naruto here, stated Jiraiya. I see. Then what can I assist you with, Naruto? Can you bring us to the bridge that connects Fire Country to Wave Country? Asked Naruto. There's a bridge now. I can try. Please hold on tight, I'm rather clumsy, stated Gamaken as he took off with a giant leap, forcing Naruto to roll down his back before he caught himself onto the large shield. Gaki recovered much faster than his father did the first time he rode Gamabunta. Unknown. He's growing up so fast, cried Kushina as she held onto Minato. Kushina, I wouldn't mind this normally, but, stated Minato. I've seen worse. Though I never would have thought that the Red Death and Yellow Flash would be so emotional, stated the gruff voice beside the couple. Though I guess that explains the orange. This coming from the young man that killed his entire class because they bullied the girl you loved. Asked Kushina with a sly smile. I have no idea what you're talking about, stated Zabuza with a faint blush on his face. Oh, so you wouldn't mind if, say, our little Naruto just so happened to charm a certain redhead, stated Kushina in a sing-song voice. Minato watched as the young swordsman in front tensed slightly. With a smirk he said, perhaps Shinigami-sama would allow another message. I'm sure that any woman would love to meet the son of a Kage and an Anbu commander. And with his father's good looks and huge assets, added Kushina. And not to mention he has the ability to change people for the better, added Minato. Enough. Just so you all know, if anyone was to earn her heart, I would want it to be the man who helped me to die a human, when I had spent my life as a demon," stated Zabuza. A peaceful smile reached his eyes. Suddenly, Minato saw an image of Kakashi. "Tell me, Zabuza, what exactly did my son do to gain your respect? Even when I was alive it was known that you respected almost no one. The only thing we saw was Naruto breaking some weird mirror and defeating a hunter nin," states Minato. Kushina, seeing his questioning look, decided to explain, "We only saw things happen in Naruto's seal and when he uses Kyuubi's chakra. Though now that Shinigami gave us this viewing window, we can see everything. Well, I guess we got the time. I gotta start at the beginning for you to understand. Great Naruto Bridge, Zabuza entrance. This bridge is named after the man that saved Wave not only from a tyrant, but also, from itself. We name this bride in honor of Naruto Uzumaki, one of the 3 heroes of Wave. Read of Tenzo before shifting to another golden plaque. This entrance on the Great Naruto Bridge is named after the demon of the hidden mist, Zabuza Momochi, who at the cost of his own life, ended Gato's reign." Jiraiya whistles, "Impressive. This bridge is very impressive. It's too bad they named it after the brat." When Naruto hadn't retorted, Jiraiya and Tenzo looked over to the young man, only to see him standing before Zabuza's plaque. "It's because of you and Haku that I'm as strong as I am today. I swear on my life that I will become even stronger and keep your memories and dreams alive. I'll be right there with you, Kit." "Thank you, Kurama," thought Naruto, "glad to see you're up." "Naruto. Gaki. You were right?" questioned Jiraiya. A worried tone carried his voice. "Yay. Better than ever." Chapter 3, Nei-chan. You two have given me more than anyone else ever has. You gave me beliefs to fall back on, the determination to become strong enough to protect all those precious to me. And now Zabuza, you give me your second most prized possession," stated Naruto as he stared down at the graves that held Haku and Zabuza. Jiraiya and Tenzo were in town picking up some supplies, and had left him alone. He grabbed his forehead protector and pulled it off, replacing it with his mother's Anbu Commander forehead protector, and turned it to the side, exactly like Zabuza had. "I promise to you both that I will use everything you've given me to help those in need and protect everyone precious to me." Naruto grabbed the hilt of the sword and with all his strength, he pulled it from the ground. He then ran his palm across the blade, causing blood to cover the blade. "And I swear on my blood and my pain that I will make you two, my mother, the old man, and everyone else that's ever helped me or have been on my side proud." "Very touching, for a thief, you speak well." Naruto spun around to see a stunning red-headed woman in a blue dress and mesh. He had barely sensed her approach, as he wasn't channeling any Kyuubi chakra. But one this was certain. She had a lot of chakra. And she looked pissed. "Now return that sword to its rightful place, before I melt you. I don't know who you are, lady, but I will never give up this sword," stated Naruto fiercely as he started drawing Kurama's chakra, just enough to remain unseen. Naruto was amazed how even at low levels, the giant blade felt no heavier than the katana that Tenzo was having him train with on the walk across the bridge. "Listen, punk, I will not tell you again, put that sword back in its rightful place or I will kill you," stated the redhead in a rage-filled voice. "I don't know what your problem is, but this sword is in its rightful place," stated Naruto as he took the best defensive stance he could muster. "That sword belongs with Zabuza," she shouted as she rushed him, drawing her fist back, only to see him start to glow gold and blur behind her. Fast, low Jonin level. Naruto tried to punch her from behind, only for her to spin around and grab his fist, using his own momentum to throw him like a rag doll over her shoulder. As Naruto righted in himself, he felt all the air leave his lungs, a fist planted in his gut. "Kurama, I need as much chakra flow as I can handle." The only response was Naruto glowing brighter and feeling the pain from the punch lessen. As Naruto approached a tree, he stabbed the blade into the ground, halting his involuntary flight. Naruto's chakra-enhanced eyes and brain picked up another blur heading towards him from his right. On instinct, he pulled the blade from the ground and blocked the strike, something he had seen Zabuza do when first fighting Kakashi. Mei was in shock. The brat had blocked her punch, which, considering she was the second strongest woman in the world, right behind Tsunade, was a feat in itself. What shocked her the most, was with his headband sideways, his demon-like shroud, and the way he blocked with the flat of the sword, the brat looked exactly like Zabuza. Why? Why are you dishonoring him? You took his sword, his style and even his signature genjutsu. Yelled Mei in a fit of rage. He left me his sword. The headband thing is my way of honoring him, and I have no idea what you mean. I'm not using any genjutsu, stated Naruto as he hefted the large sword up and placed it on his shoulder, making Mei once again see a resemblance to Zabuza. He would never leave that sword to you. With Tenzo and Jiraiya. Tenzo and Jiraiya were walking through the street, looking for a good tailor so that they could get Naruto a good set of clothes to train in, when they stumbled across a store that caught their eye. It was a ninja supply store. Both walked in and were surprised to see it was fully stocked with all manner of shinobi wear and gear. Welcome to my store, judging from your headbands, I assume you are Konoha ninja? Asked the large gray-haired older man behind the counter. That we are. We were looking for some clothes for our student when we stumbled upon your store. Mind telling us what a village like this needs a shinobi supply store for? Asked Jiraiya as he looked at some of the clothes on the racks, seeing they were all high quality. Ever since Gato was killed, the civilians have been training to protect themselves, stated the man behind the counter, so what brings you to Wave? I can't believe that you would come all the way here just to buy a few supplies from little old me. Actually, our student is training for the Chunin exam finals. We're here because it's out of the way and we have some things we don't want his competition to know about him, stated Tenzo, inspecting a turtleneck Kevlar mesh undershirt. Why come to Wave though? I only know of 4 ninja from Konoha that have ever been here, stated the older man before his eye lit up. Is your student Naruto Uzumaki? With Naruto. Zabuza. He really did leave his sword to you, didn't he? Questioned Mei as she reread the letter for what had to have been the 20th time. Yay, he also left me some other stuff as well, stated Naruto as he nursed his rib cage, where Mei had landed a brutal kick. Naruto laid down on the ground and sighed, at least I'm improving. Last time I fought a Jonin I almost died. How did you know I'm a Jonin? Asked Mei, her interest in the young genin had skyrocketed over the last 10 minutes. Because, even though my taijutsu and kenjutsu suck, I can still move at Jonin level speeds and I'm strong enough to swing around this sword, stated Naruto with a pat on the sword in his lap. If you weren't a Jonin, you wouldn't have been able to keep up, and seeing as you were blowing me out of the water, I can only assume that you're high Jonin in skill. Very deductive of you Naruto-kun. But can I ask, how are you able to move like that? Questioned Mei. I use chakra on every muscle, my eyes, brain and nervous system to make me faster, stronger and quicker. Stated Naruto. Sounds like A's lightning armor, stated Mei to herself, silently impressed that a genin had recreated the Raikage's personal jutsu. Who's A? And what's lightning armor? He's the Raikage. He uses a jutsu that's exactly like that golden cloak of yours, except he uses his masterful control over lightning, stated Mei, Naruto-kun. Did you mean everything you said about becoming strong? Yes. I will become strong so that I can protect everyone I care about, stated Naruto with resolve that made Mei once again see Zabuza. Well then, I guess you could use a few jutsu to help out, stated Mei with a smile as she stood up and fished a scroll out of the small pouch on her lower back. I'm sure these will help, but for now, I must get back to Mist. I hope to see you again Naruto-kun. Naruto looked at the scroll and saw several high-ranking water jutsu on it. That Yume Ne-chan, shouted Naruto as he charged and hugged her. Just keep Zabuza alive in memory and in your heart, stated Mei with a smile. She then disappeared in a swirl of water. I hope that's in this scroll too, that was awesome, stated Naruto as he walked back towards the village to meet up with Yamato and Jiraiya. Wonder how the training is going to go. 45 minutes later. Okay brat, let's get to work. During this month, we're going to be working on your taijutsu, ninjutsu, kenjutsu, fuinjutsu and of course, using your new chakra, stated Jiraiya, showing his serious side. What's fuinjutsu? And how the hell are we going to do all of that in a month? Questioned Naruto. Fuinjutsu is the art, and I do mean art, of seals. Unlike ninjutsu or genjutsu or almost every other kind of jutsu, fuinjutsu can do almost anything. Most shinobi see fuinjutsu as pointless because they fail to see the in-fight capabilities, stated Jiraiya. What are the in-fight capabilities? You mean like being able to attack and defend? Asked Naruto, curious as to how useful it could be. There are a lot of things that can be useful in a fight. Just an example, the Yondaime's signature jutsu, the Hiraishin, is 100% Fuinjutsu. Also, you can seal weapons away and surprise your opponent by pulling a sword or an explosive tag out of nowhere, stated Jiraiya. That's so cool. So I could seal my sword on my palm, and deploy it whenever I wanted. Questioned Naruto. Exactly, you could even seal kunai into the sword, and have them launch out when you swing the sword, stated Jiraiya with a smile. That's awesome, shouted Naruto in glee, I want to learn Fuinjutsu. That's great Naruto, but first, we must get your other skills up to a higher level in a hurry. So we're going to be using my favorite training method. Kage Bushin no Jutsu. Suddenly, there were two Jiraiyas. Okay kid, I want you to make a clone and have it come with me and you spar with Tenzo. Otogakur. Luck is on our side, stated Orochimaru as he looked over a spy report. Why is that? Inquired Kabuto. Because my idiot of an ex-teammate has taken the talentless Uzumaki away from the village for the month to train, leaving Konoha with its spy network for the whole month, stated Orochimaru in glee. I don't see the difference, I mean, they never would have known anyway, stated Kabuto. Once again, you're not seeing the bigger picture Kabuto-kun. If we don't have to worry about the spy network, then we don't have to conceal our movements as much. Which means that I no longer have to use that fool as a mask any longer, stated Orochimaru, and the best part is, he's still under my jutsu. So no matter what, he will follow the plan. Konoha. The third Hokage frowned deeply as he looked over the Team 7 reports. He was shocked, but not for the reason he would have thought. It seemed that, incredibly, until the end of the second round of the Chunin exam, Kakashi had been a fair, although extremely ineffective, sensei. In fact, the one that grew the least under him was Sasuke, who had been a prodigy in the academy, and had all but stopped growing until the fated a rank mission to wave when he had unlocked his Sharingan. Though it seemed to most that Sasuke was growing by leaps and bounds, it was just a trick of the mind, as Sasuke had been so far ahead of everyone else, that even the slightest increase in skill seemed to be a huge step. That was the problem though. Even Minato and Itachi were never this far ahead of the class they graduated with. Though they both had graduated early, they were still roughly mid-genin when they graduated. Hell, even Kakashi himself was only mid-genin level when he graduated. Yet Sasuke seemed to have already been high genin, bordering on Chunin when he graduated. Even more concerning, when Naruto had graduated, his scores were the lowest in the academy's history, yet within a day of his third failure, he learned a B-rank jutsu and defeated a rather skilled Chunin in hand-to-hand combat with it. Why was nothing coming out of the academy making sense? He could understand that Sasuke would be skilled, but if he was already near Chunin level at the time of graduation, why had he not known about it? And what about Naruto? He was obviously held back at the academy. Mizuki had admitted to that himself, but how much had he truly been held back? In every definition of the term, Naruto was a prodigy, even more so than his father was. And yet he came out of the academy as the dead last. Hell, he failed 3 times. Not to mention the young Haruno. She's the daughter to fairly skilled, retired shinobi. She came out of the academy a well-rounded, incredibly intelligent young woman. But her team reports showed that she had done next to nothing on their missions, and when she trained she did the bare minimum of work. Get me Ibiki, Anko, Hayate and Genma, now, commanded Sarutobi as he felt 2 Anbu leave to gather the people he requested. I will get to the bottom of this. Then I will handle Kakashi's shortcomings as a sensei. 3 weeks later. Okay Naruto, let's spar again, and let's see how far you've come, stated Tenzo. Seeing Naruto nod, he added the stipulations, just your skills. The Kyuubi chakra is a trump card, you should not become reliant on it. Naruto nodded and shot forward at high genin speed, throwing a punch at the Anbu's face, only for Tenzo to catch it and throw Naruto over his shoulder. However, Naruto used the throw to his advantage by unsealing his sword from his palm, slicing at Tenzo's back. Jiraiya watched his godson use his outstanding in-fight intelligence to force an Anbu member onto the defensive. Outstanding. Even though he only has high genin speed and low chunin strength, he still is able to outmaneuver a seasoned Anbu and even use what most would consider a horrible position to his own advantage. He really is your son Minato. Very good Naruto. You have high genin speed and are easily low chunin in strength with how you use that sword. Your taijutsu is good, but you still need more experience. I'd say it's also high genin. Now let's see some ninjutsu, stated Tenzo as he once again got into a defensive stance. I'll take it from here, Tenzo. No offense, but the Gaki's reserves are just as big as mine, not to mention we've drilled so much chakra control into his head that he probably has low chunin level chakra control, stated Jiraiya as he took Tenzo's place in front of Naruto. Okay Gaki, show me what you got. Water style. Water dragon jutsu, shouted Naruto as he drew water from the air and launched the dragon at Jiraiya, who was shocked to see Naruto use B-rank jutsu of the bat, especially one that he hadn't taught him. Before he even had a chance to put up a defense, he heard another yell, water style. Great collision wave jutsu. Earth style. Earth bunker, shouted Jiraiya as he slammed his palms into the ground, creating a dome over himself to shield him from the water. Let's see you beat this Gaki. Earth style. Earth bullet dragon. Naruto's eyes widened as he flew through hand seals. Earth style. Earth wall jutsu. A 10-foot tall, 10-foot wide and 2 feet thick wall of earth sprang up in front of Naruto, absorbing the impact of the bullet dragon as it slammed into it. As it fell, Jiraiya saw Naruto, kneeling behind the giant mound of mud that made of their combined jutsu, panting heavily. Man, 2B rank. Jutsu in a C rank and I'm already down a fourth of my reserves, panted Naruto as he watched Jiraiya walk over to him. Gaki. The reason that took so much out of you is because you used water from the air instead of from a lake or even the ground. Seeing as your natural element is wind, it's harder for you to use other elements, stated Jiraiya. Plus the fact that you tried to use the water dragon without using a few hand signs didn't help. The second Hokage used the water dragon with only one hand sign. If I can do it with less hand seals, then it will be more useful in a fight, stated Naruto as he got up. Very true, but to properly do that, you need to have cage level control, which even with shadow clone training and Kyuubi no longer messing up your chakra flow, you're still years, maybe even decades away from, stated Jiraiya as he walked over to Tenzo. So what now? He needs to be back in a week, so we still have a few days to train him, stated Tenzo. Why not give the kid a break? He's already low chunin without using Kyuubi chakra, and with it he might as well be low jonin. He deserves some time off. Plus, we still have to get him his new clothes, seeing as we destroyed that outfit, stated Jiraiya as he started walking away, not waiting for Tenzo's input. Come on Gaki, me and Tenzo have a surprise for ya. Konoha. Sasuke once again flashed through hand signs and then gripped his forearm as chakra began to gather in his palm, growing and churning until it seemed to come to life with a high-pitched scream as it sparked and danced, ripping chunks out the earth around him. Sasuke then rushed at the training dummy, Sharingan blazing as he thrusted the ball of electricity into its chest, splinters exploding from the impact site. Very good Sasuke. But you still haven't mastered the just yet. We will try again tomorrow, for right now, let's work on speed, stated Kakashi. And remember Sasuke, the Chidori is an assassination technique. It has no other purpose but to kill. You will only use this jutsu to defend your comrades. Sasuke simply nodded as he turned away from his sensei. This is the perfect tool to kill him. Don't you worry Dobi. Now that I have this, I won't need to kill you. Just as long as you don't stand in my way. Weapons shop in Wave. Welcome back Shinobi-san. Welcome to my store Naruto-sama. Called out the shop owner as the trio of shinobi made their way into the surprisingly large shinobi store. Hello Kadio. Have you finished the orders? Asked Jiraiya. Naruto sent him a questioning look. But of course, my young seamstress finished the large order weeks ago. The second order was finished a few days ago, stated Kadio with a smile. Let me go get them. Naruto watched as the man shot into the back room of the shop. Did he just call me Naruto-sama? That he did Gaki. I'd imagine that everyone in this village, hell, the whole country thinks of you as a hero, stated Jiraiya. It's true Naruto. You haven't seen it because you've only been to the graves and to Tazuna Sands. Everyone that has seen my headband asks about you, and there hasn't been a single one who had anything but good things to say about you, stated Tenzo. Why would we? You saved our country, Naruto-sama. You showed us that we could still fight. It's because of you that many of us are still alive, stated the shop owner as he came out of the back room, placing 3 boxes of the counter. These 2 are your orders, this third one was left here by a beautiful red-headed woman. Mei-ne-chan, questioned Naruto to himself, though Jiraiya had heard him. Oh ho, so the Gaki has a cute little girlfriend he's been hiding from us. What do you think, Tenzo? Questioned Jiraiya. How cute. Though I'm curious as to when he would have met her. We got here and almost immediately started his training, stated Tenzo. I met her when I went to visit Zabuza and get my blade. She said that she was a friend of his, and after we fought, she said that she had to go back to Mist, stated Naruto. He then pulled a scroll and showed it to the other men in the room. She's the one who gave me the scroll that had all the water jutsu I know. Must be fellow Jonin. Do you know her last name Gaki? Asked Jiraiya. Well, no, she never gave it, stated Naruto while he rubbed the back of his head. What did she give me? Well, let's see, stated the store owner as he handed the box over to Naruto. Naruto opened the box, only to pull out 2 belts and a letter. Dear Naruto-kun, it was one of Zabuza's dreams to truly master the art of silent killing. Which according to him was to become completely undetectable. I'm not sure that it's possible, but seeing as he left his sword to you, I believe you are the one to finish this dream. I don't have any scrolls on the silent killing technique, but hopefully this will help. Simply wear 1 belt around your chest and 1 around your waist, channel some chakra into them and the sword will stick to the belts, even through clothing. Make him proud, Naruto-kun. Gaki, if you keep going at this rate, you'll be buried in letters and gifts. Laughed Jiraiya, but that will go perfect with our gifts. Naruto opened the next box, revealing a new outfit. Naruto was at a loss for words as he looked at the new clothes, and was only taken out of his thoughts when he heard Tenzo speak. We knew you would never give up the color orange, so we simply toned it down. Go ahead and put it on, I believe there's a changing room over in the corner. Naruto darted into the small room in the back corner of the store, only to emerge a minute later, donning his new outfit, which consisted of a dark blue long-sleeved shirt with dark orange stripes going from his armpits to his hips, a giant red and black swirl on his back. His pants were much the same as his shirt, dark blue Anbu-style pants that had the same dark orange stripes, continuing from his hips, disappearing into his dark orange shinobi sandals. His mother's headband still lay across the side of his head. Looking sharp, Gaki. Looks like you're going to be breaking a lot of hearts, stated Jiraiya. My lord, he looks almost exactly like Minato. I can't wait to see everyone's smug faces when he arrives at the Chunin exams and beats the Hyuga, all while resembling his father. It's awesome. Thank you both so much, thanked Naruto with tears in his eyes. The shop owner was once again amazed that the hero of Wave was reduced to tears by simply being given an outfit, a very expensive and well-made outfit mind you, but an outfit nonetheless. Open the last one, Gaki, stated Jiraiya. If he likes the outfit, he's going to love this. Such a shame the village held him back. Minato, would you have saved them if you knew this was your son's fate? Naruto nodded and wiped his eyes, moving over to the counter once again, taking the box into his hands, pulling the lid off. No way. Chapter 4, The New Naruto. No way. I take it you like it, Gaki? Asked Jiraiya as he watched Naruto pull a blue jacket with orange flames licking the bottom and sleeves. On the back was the kanji for Demon of the Leaf. Naruto was at a loss for words as he put the jacket on and moved around in it. He was surprised that there was almost no loss of movement and it hid the twin belts that made up his holster. In the front of the jacket, there was a spot where he could hook a forehead protector. You didn't need to do all of this. I may not have needed to, but I did. You said you wouldn't wear his jacket, so I got you your own. Flashback. Naruto. Gaki, you alright? Asked Jiraiya. Yeah, better than ever, retorted Naruto as he moved down the bridge, studying every square inch of it as he walked. Naruto, what was in that scroll that Lord Hokage gave you? Asked Tenzo, walking next to Jiraiya. Oh that, I don't know. Why don't I check and see? Naruto reached into his pocket and pulled out the scroll, rolled it open and stared at it. It's a seal. Well, what are y'all waiting for, brat? Put some chakra into the center of the seal. Stated Jiraiya. Naruto is going to flip out when he sees what's in that seal. One poof later, Naruto was frozen in place on the bridge, in one hand, the scroll, in the other, the Yondaime's jacket. Why would he give me this? Cause brat. When he sealed that beast inside you, it wasn't only to save the village. He wanted you to be able to use its power to protect the village. Now that you can do just that, he would want you to have it. Stated Jiraiya. Doesn't hurt that you're his son, and other than your mother's personality, you're a carbon copy of him. I can't wear this. He was the greatest shinobi of all time. It would be right to wear this. Not until I'm Hokage. Stated Naruto with conviction. Jiraiya smiled softly, remembering a time where Minato refused a gift from himself the same reason. Minato, he's so much like you. Flashback end. Alright brat, no tears. Let's get going, we have less than a week left and we still have one last place to go. Konoha. The Sandaime observed the 3 men and 1 woman in front of him. Hayate was coughing as usual, though his condition was getting better, he kept up the appearance of being sick to force others to underestimate him. What have you all found? Asked Sarutobi, already smoking his pipe. We believe that there has been major favoritism shown throughout the academy, but as far as we can tell, Kakashi has just been a shitty sensei, stated Ibiki, stepping forward and handing the aged Kage a binder. Explain. The Kakashi part first and then the academy, instructed the aged Kage. Up until the Uchiha obtained the curse seal, Kakashi seemed to teach only teamwork exercises and use D ranks as his physical training. Usually this would be frowned upon, but from all accounts, Team 7's teamwork was held together by a thread. So I personally can't blame him too much, especially because for most of his life, he's believed teamwork was the most important part of being a shinobi. The C rank turned a rank, looking back, was actually not that bad of an idea. Kakashi had estimated it to be mid-B rank and he could handle that by himself, as shown by his track record. I believe he figured that the stress of a high-ranking mission would kick them into gear and force them to start working together. Subsequently, it did just that, as both Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno started working better with Naruto Uzumaki, who Kakashi had said at one point was the glue that held the team together. Stated Ibiki, hears and nodded, remembering most of this information's from the team reports. Enko began next. After Kakashi found out that Sasuke was marked with the curse mark, he immediately began setting up a sealing room, asking Metagai to watch after his team while he did so. Kakashi then reported that he sealed the curse mark with a twin evil suppressing seal after his preliminary match, making it controlled by Sasuke's will, which personally, I think was the stupidest thing he could have done, seeing as the brat has a revenge complex, and will run to any source of power he can find. Sarutobi had to agree with the foul-mouthed Anko on that level. He made a mental note to have Jiraiya apply another set of seals to completely destroy the possibility of Sasuke ever using it again. After that we have several witnesses that say they saw Kakashi and Uzumaki conversing outside of Rock Lee's room. An argument broke out when Kakashi all but cast Naruto off with Special John and Ebisu, and was heard saying that Uzumaki wasn't worth his time at the moment. After that he took Sasuke out of the village to train. They are currently on the bluffs of Foster Canyon, stated Hayate. It's my personal opinion that the reason Kakashi is promoting the Uchiha's growth to do right by Obito by helping Sasuke make Chunin, then maybe he will help out Naruto and the Haruno. Sarutobi nodded at the information. Yes, Jiraiya had said that they were training near there, and I have the paperwork from Kakashi. What have you all found at the academy? Genma stepped forward and began. At first it seemed like Uzumaki was simply a dead last, which wouldn't be that surprising, as he had no one to help him outside of the classes. Looking back on the written exam scores, he consistently was scoring class low grades, though he rarely outright failed, leading us to believe that the instructors only taught him half of the curriculum. His physical scores were much the same, all just barely above passing, but going back and looking over the obstacle course tapes, Uzumaki was always in the top 5 in evasion, speed, reflexes and usually could get his way out of any predicament he found himself in. Until teachers started to sabotage him. This continued until he reached Iruka's class, where he started to gradually improve. Near the middle of the year, he was hanging in the middle of the class. It was then that other teachers started to volunteer their help in training Naruto in their specialty subjects, at which point Naruto started to fall behind again, eventually causing him to become the dead last. Thank you for the reports. I would like every teacher, active or retired, that you believe may have hampered Naruto's growth, to be sent to Anko and Ibiki. If the suspicions are found true, they are to have their chakras sealed and be placed in prison. Charge them with treason for undermining the military power of this village. If you manage to connect any of them with Mizuki on anything greater than a friendship level, I want them taken to Inoichi, where he will scan their memories. Outside Konoha. Pervy Sage. What is this place? Asked Naruto as he looked at group of buildings that looked like they hadn't seen human contact in 20 years. This is the Uzumaki Shrine, kid. Usually, it impossible to find, because of the genjutsu barriers. You have to go through a tunnel and all sorts of other shit to avoid those though, stated Jiraiya as he moved to the center of the courtyard and began setting up camp. I thought this place was a myth, stated Tenzo, moving to make a makeshift tent out of wood. I swear, the second I figure out that house jutsu. It's no myth. You can only enter this place if you've been inside before with an Uzumaki. Come on brat, we got 5 days till the Chunin exams and I think you're ready to start learning some new chakra control exercises, stated Jiraiya. Naruto nodded and looked around, seeing several things that caught his eyes. The sooner we get started, the sooner you can take a look around. You can do these exercises while walking around. 5 days later, Chunin Exam Stadium. Hello Hokage Dono. I see you are in good health, stated the Cage, sitting in his seat, 3 bodyguards around him. Same for you Cage Dono. It is quite a trip from your village to mine, stated Sarutobi. Never did like the desert. It took a fair amount of our men in the Second Great War, stated Jiraiya, who had appeared next to Hiruzen. Then again, our forest did the same for Kumo, so I guess I can't complain. Indeed, it also helps in the conditioning of our ninja, stated the Cage thoughtfully. Excuse me Hokage Dono, but I believe we are missing some competitors. Hiruzen looked down to the arena floor, seeing everyone but Naruto and Dosu, who had gone missing during the month break. Jiraiya, where is Naruto? You were supposed to be back yesterday. We bunked overnight outside the village. Don't worry though, he'll be here. Actually, he probably already is, though you might not recognize him. Arena floor. Uzumaki shows he's nothing but a failure, stated Neji, though at least he knows when to quit. Fate has already declared me the winner. You better show up Dobi. I want to know what that power was, thought Sasuke darkly, his mind revolving around the burst of pure power that he felt when Kakashi first took him to Foster Canyon. I came back a full day early just so I could question that idiot on that power, and that Dobi had the gall to actually leave the village when he needed to answer my questions. If I crush someone's toes, could they still walk? Wondered Gaara absent-mindedly. When I get back home I will ask Dr. Mabutu. Oh shit, Gaara's got that calculating look in his eyes. I hope father knows what he's doing, thought Tamari. Bananas are delicious, thought Shino. Wonder where Naruto is. He only has a minute to show up, thought Genma. The Uchiha is here though. I wonder if Uzumaki is around as well. Perhaps if I crush only one set of toes, would they walk around in circles? Where is Uzumaki? Mother says to be weary of him, thought Gaara. Naruto Uzumaki has 1 minute to report to the arena before he is disqualified, stated Genma. An eerie silence fell over the crowd before a demonic-like voice sounded from everywhere at once. Feel free to start the match, I'm already here. A horrified look appeared on several faces. Sasuke, Sakura and Kakashi because of the flashbacks of Zabuza. Neji because he could not find the source of the voice with his all-seeing eyes. Guy and Kurenai, who had both faced one of the 7 swordsmen in battle, both started to sweat, believing one of the former swordsmen had infiltrated the village. Alright, would Neji Hyuga and Naruto Uzumaki remain? Wherever you are, everyone else, move back to the box, stated Genma. The Chunin hopefuls all moved to the box, each looking around for the orange-wearing shinobi. Are both fighters ready? Of course, if Uzumaki isn't too cowardly as to not show himself, stated Neji with a confident smirk, though on the inside he was beginning to become frightened. Such a shame, spoke the voice again, sending chills up almost everyone's spines. You Hyuga are said to see everything, yet you fail to see what's in plain sight. I guess the Hyuga are not as great as everyone believes. Show yourself, coward, shouted Neji. Fate has sealed my victory, there's no reason to hide. A ninja is a silent assassin, protecting the village from the shadows as an unseen protector. I am anything but a coward. I am a true ninja. But seeing as you're incompetent. Look at the top of the cage box. Everyone's eyes shot to the top of the cage box, and most over the age of 16 began freaking out. Standing at the edge of the roof, stood a blonde figure, hair draping to his shoulders, one side of his face framed by a bang of hair, while the other was being held back by a black headband that sat on the side of his head, a blue and orange outfit, and blue short-sleeve jacket with orange flames licking the bottom and sleeves, a sword handle stuck out behind his head. Whispers sounded off throughout the stadium, ranging from shock that the Yondaime had returned to hatred that the Kyuubi brat was emulating their greatest hero. The most notable was Kakashi, who seemed to be literally frozen, unable to even think after seeing just how much Naruto resembled his sensei. Naruto disappeared from the roof and appeared 10 feet from the Hyuga, his giant sword held in his right hand, which he planted into the ground next to him. Start the match. It's time this pile of shit pay for his actions. Right. First match. Neji Hyuga vs Naruto Uzumaki, begin. Nice entrance. But style points mean nothing in this fight. You are fated to lose. Naruto started flying through hand signs, water style. Great collision wave. A torrent of water left Naruto's mouth, surging towards the Hyuga prodigy, who was too surprised to move in time and was swept into the wall, leaving a Neji-shaped indent. As the water settled, covering the arena floor in a foot-thick layer of water, Neji pried himself out of his crater and fell to his knees on the surface of the water. Get up. I'm tired of being underestimated. I'm going to make it known here and now that I'm not the dead last, that I'm not just some fodder, stated Naruto as he channeled Kurama's chakra, just enough to shield his chakra network, giving him an eerie reddish glow. You better pull out all the stops, Neji, 'cause I'm coming for you. Underscore. With teams 7, 8, 9 and 10. Man, when did Naruto become so cool? Questioned Ino, her interest piqued by this new and, in her opinion, very much improved Naruto. When did he learn that jutsu? He never used it against me. And what about the sword? Questioned Kiba, angry that he had lost to the blonde when he wasn't even using all his arsenal. Well, when Orochimaru hit him, he said something about a seal. Naruto said that his chakra felt funny. Stated Sakura, staring at the sword that was planted in the ground. But that's Zabuza Momochi's sword. Who's Zabuza Momochi? Asked Choji. An A-class nuke nin from Kiri that we fought on our C rank turned a rank. It's likely that Naruto went back during the month break to retrieve it. Plus he's wearing his headband like Zabuza did, most likely as a way to show his respect, stated Kakashi. Plus Naruto just used a B-ranked water jutsu with only 3/4 of the standard hand seals. Why were you hiding your strength from me, Naruto? Underscore. Cage box. Sarutobi watched with a smile as his surrogate grandson showed his true colors to the rest of the village. Minato, Kushina. If only you could see him. No. Underscore. Arena floor. Naruto dodged another set of strikes from the Hyuga prodigy. Using his momentum, he spun and sent a vicious kick at Neji's head, which was blocked by the Hyuga's arm. Neji winced in pain as he was forced to block another blow, which was about as strong as Lee's. This is insane. The only reason I can even track him is because of the Byakugan. And why is there red chakra surrounding his body? It's time I end this, stated Naruto as he jumped away from their deadly lake top dance, landing about 30 feet away, flashing through hand signs in a blur, so fast that all Neji saw was a blur that ended on the dragon symbol. Water style. Water dragon jutsu. Everyone in the stadium was amazed and somewhat horrified as a 50-foot-tall water dragon grew up from the water behind Naruto, using every ounce of water on the floor of the arena. The creature then rushed at Neji at near Jonin speeds, forcing the Hyuga prodigy to use his best move. Rotation, shouted Neji, spinning at incredible speeds and releasing a large portion of his chakra. As the dragon hit the spinning dome of chakra, it exploded in all different directions, sending water everywhere, drenching everyone within range of the blast. As both attacks ended, everyone witnessed a slightly panting Naruto, standing on the slowly rising water, and Neji, on both knees and panting heavily as the water rose around him. Hey, you cannot escape fate. Do you understand now? I was fated to win the match ever since you were made my opponent. And now, you're within my range. Bursting out of his down position, Neji began hitting Naruto's chakra system with everything he had. Chakra points, organs, even hitting his chakra coils a couple of times, though Naruto just seemed to tank every hit. As Neji's last strike hit, his vision went black. Naruto had just about enough of the Hyuga poking him, and delivered a strike of his own, blasting the Hyuga on the bridge of the nose with a Kurama-powered punch, sending him flying across the arena, skipping and skidding across the water limply before splashing to a stop, floating face up in the water. Fate means nothing. Fate, revenge, honor, they're all nothing but crutches used by weak people to justify their actions. Naruto turned around, pulling his sword from the ground and placed it on his back, where his belts held it in place through his coat, and began walking towards the stairs that led to the contestant box, passing the med nin that were rushing towards the downed Hyuga. Winner. Naruto Uzumaki. Cage box. He's grown well, Jiraiya. Once again you prove that you're one of the best senseis the world has ever known, stated Sarutobi with a kind laugh. Actually sensei, he did most of what you've seen on his own. I taught him a few earth jutsu and refined his taijutsu and chakra control, stated Jiraiya with a smirk, thinking of how hard his student worked. That brat. I hate that brat. It's obvious that he's Minato's son. I want that brat dead. I know, I'll postpone the invasion and let Gaara kill him. I'll just have Kabuto step in if Sasuke-kun is in any danger. After all, he is a medic. Though Orochimaru, sending out a discreet message to the bed nin. Contestant box. Where did you learn those jutsu, Dobi? And why couldn't I copy them? Demanded Sasuke, but Naruto simply walked past him, moving to Gaara. Don't you walk away from me, Dobi. I'm talking to you. Naruto just continued to ignore the pissed-off Avenger, standing in front of Gaara. You are 1, I am 9. Everyone went quiet, wondering what the blonde was talking about. Gaara nodded and spoke. Mother told me as much. You have very good control. I wish to fight you most of all. Then it will be a fight between us. You finish your fight quickly, and I'll fight you with everything I have. Stated Naruto seriously, his blue eyes boring into Gaara's green, and don't kill him. Gaara stared at the blonde for a few seconds, before nodding, I will not kill him, but if you disappoint me, he will die, along with everyone else. Gaara then disappeared in a swirl of sand, appearing on the water. Answer me, Dobi. Why do you have Zabuza's sword? Where did you learn those jutsu and what was that power you used? Shouted Sasuke. Flashback. Okay, Naruto. It's time I tell you something that took me most of my life to figure out, stated Jiraiya seriously as he sat down on the steps of the Uzumaki shrine. What is it, sensei? Asked Naruto, understanding that whenever Jiraiya was being serious and used his real name, it was important. There are certain types of people in this world. There are those that face the world head-on, and those that hide behind beliefs. We tend to face everything head-on, using our own power. Then there are those like Orochimaru, who has hidden his entire life. As a child he lost his parents, and used it as an excuse. He never got over the tragedy of losing his parents, and he slowly switched crutches, moving from honor to revenge to even fate. Only the weak hide behind words, Naruto. The strong face their problems face to face, head-on and with everything they got. End flashback. Naruto turned to the Uchiha and with speed that Sasuke couldn't track with his Sharingan, he found Naruto's hand around his throat. No more Uchiha. I will no longer be the Team 7 punching bag. You want my hard work, to ing bad. I've worked for everything I've ever had while you use those vile eyes of yours to just steal others' hard work. This is the last time I say it, Tem. I will never give you anything that is mine. Naruto then threw Sasuke out into the stadium, leaving a majority of the crowd stunned. Good to see you join us. Are both fighters ready? Asked Genma. Gaara nodded and began leaking chakra into the ground to create more sand. Uzumaki is the target, this Uchiha no longer interests me. I would usually play around with you, but I need answers from the Dobi. I'll end this in one move, stated Sasuke, activating his Sharingan. Begin. Sasuke immediately jumped away, creating the distance he would need to gather speed. This is the power of the Uchiha. Sasuke ran through hand seals and gripped his wrist, electricity gathered in his palm and began chirping. Sasuke charged the still stationary red head, grinning like a madman that he could finally try this jutsu out on a living target. Chidori. As Sasuke was rapidly approaching, Gaara surrounded himself in a dome of sand, making sure the walls were thicker than the Uchiha's arm was long. Everyone watched as Sasuke plunged his arm into the sand with no resistance, and the civilians began to cheer, that is, until Sasuke screamed out in pain. Inside the dome, Gaara was having far too much fun. He used his sands to dislocate all of Sasuke's fingers, along with his wrist and elbow. He then sent his sand to cover the Uchiha's body, letting the dome fall as he enveloped Sasuke in sand. You're lucky that Uzumaki wants you alive, though I don't understand why. If I were him, I would have killed you long ago. Proctor. This match is over. Winner. Gaara of the desert. Called out Genma as he watched the sand leave Sasuke. He was disgusted when he saw that Sasuke's left arm was now about 4 inches longer than his right. Hope that the Uzumaki gives me a good fight, or I will be coming back and finishing you off. Chapter 5, The Demon's Lullaby. You summoned me? Questioned Naruto from a knee in front of the Hokage and cage. You may rise, Naruto, it doesn't suit you to be on a knee, stated Sarutobi kindly. Quite the performance. I did not know you had a water affinity, though with Kushina as your mother, I shouldn't be surprised. You are an Uzumaki after all. Hehe, about that. I don't have a water affinity, mine's wind, stated Naruto, getting a shocked look from both Sarutobi and the cage. What? Are you saying that you were able to use 2 of the most infamous water jutsu, with less than the normally required hand seals? Without an affinity for water? Questioned Sarutobi, his mind racing to figure out how that was possible. Well, yay. I mean, what's the point of having 2 high-ranking jutsu if it takes like 5 to 15 seconds just to do the seals? I'd be dead before I got halfway through the hand seals, stated Naruto, not understanding the complexity of his jutsu. That's not what I'm talking about, Naruto. It's the fact that not even I can do those jutsu without the full amount of seals, because I do not possess a water affinity, stated Sarutobi, as he glanced down to the start of Shikamaru's match. He turned to see a confused look on Naruto's face. I know every jutsu in Konoha's position, minus personal jutsu of my ninja and clans. I can use every basic element, but I only have an affinity for earth and fire. I can perform a fire dragon and earth dragon with 2 or 3 hand signs, but for jutsu like the water and lightning dragon, I must use all the hand signs. Oh Su, does that mean I have an affinity for water as well as earth and wind? Questioned Naruto. When I did that card thing, it only showed I had wind. Can you do earth jutsu with less than the standard seals? Questioned Sarutobi, to which Naruto nodded. You are indeed a very talented shinobi, Naruto. Don't be surprised if you make Chunin at the end of these finals. Let him fight Gaara first. I was rather disappointed in the Uchiha. Perhaps you can give Gaara a challenge, young Uzumaki, stated the cage, truly wanting to see what the Uzumaki could do, especially if he had heard right about him being Kushina's son. I have to, otherwise your son will kill my friends, even if it means starting a war. It makes me wonder, if he has such free reign in an allied village, how does he behave in his own village? Questioned Naruto, subtly using just enough of Kurama's chakra to increase his senses, feeling a spike of anger come from the cage. I suggest you tread lightly, Genin. Insulting a cage, even an allied one, can cost you your life, stated the cage, his voice dangerous. Jiraiya was about to shut Naruto up when Naruto felt a huge spike of negative emotions, and retorted. I would rather kill myself than die by the hand of a man who doesn't even have the respect of his own son. At least I hope that's what is going on. Hate to find out that you're planning on betraying our trust. After all, letting a mentally unstable Jinchuriki loose in any village could be considered an act of war. Naruto turned away from the frozen wind shadow and towards the old man. May I go now? I would like to congratulate Shikamaru on his loss. Sarutobi, lost in thought, simply nodded and said, of course my boy. Be careful fighting Gaara, he's much stronger than Neji. Naruto nodded and moved to pass Jiraiya, only to pause and whisper to him, something's wrong, pervy sage. There's 5 different signatures besides the cage, and all their emotions are negative. Medical Bay. You're very skilled for being a genin, we've already repaired all the joints in his fingers and his elbow, stated a random med-nin that had been dedicated to fixing the last Uchiha's all but crushed arm. It's really nothing. All the joints were popped out of place with a pulling motion. It's the easiest dislocation to heal, and he should be back to full range of motion in no time, stated Kabuto with a smile, though on the inside, his mind was running a mile a minute. Orochimaru ordered me to heal Sasuke, but doing this will delay the invasion. It could even stop it from happening. And why has he changed the start signal? Does he want to see that idiot get killed by Gaara? Contestant box. Really Shika? I knew you would quit, but why quit right before you were going to win? Questioned Naruto, a deadpan expression on his face. Well, it would be troublesome to go on fighting. I'm already low on chakra, and having to face Shino next, there's a slim chance I would have been able to finish the fight before his bugs drained me. Then even if I somehow managed to beat Shino, who is still fresh after Makeup Boy forfeited, I'd be facing you or Gaara. And there is no way in hell I'd want to fight either of you, explained Shikamaru, who then took a large breath and leaned up against the wall. Wow, I think that's the most you've ever said at once, stated Naruto as he started moving towards the doorway out of the contestant box. See you later Shika. Where are you going? Questioned Shikamaru, his interest peaked in the blonde. Well, I got a half hour before my fight with Gaara, so I'm going to get ready. Hokage Monument, in Naruto's mindscape. Okay, can I ask about his abilities? Asked Naruto as he sat on the edge of Kurama's area. Well, we've both seen the redhead use sand, but being a Jinchuriki, he can also transform into a half form, maybe even a full form of Shukaku. Lucky for you, the best way to slow him down, maybe even stop his sand attacks completely, is to soak it with water. So all I need to do is soak his sand with water. No, soaking the sand with water will only slow down the movement of that sand. The best thing to do if he doesn't go half of full form would be to break that gourd on his back and drench his sand with water, then attack as fast as possible, dodge the slower sand, and beat the shit out of the kid. And if he goes half or full form, what then? Do you have a massive sword on your back? If he goes half form, soak him with water and hack away. If he goes full form, I guess we're going to find out just how much chakra you can handle. What was your last max out? 12% flow rate. That's what I could use 2 days ago. That should be just about enough for the lower 6 tails. You're still not skilled enough with the tailed beast chains to help at all. How is the tailed beast bomb coming? With Gaara. What's he planning? We were supposed to begin when you beat the Uchiha. Questioned Kankuro, confused that the invasion had yet to start. It does not matter. I get to fight Uzumaki in 10 minutes. He will be the one to test my power, stated Gaara, his tone dangerous and his eyes bloodshot. What's so special about the Uzumaki? You tossed the Uchiha around like he was nothing, so why would the blonde be any different? Asked Baki, who on top of being confused about the invasion not starting, was also confused about Gaara's choice of target. He was supposed to target the strong Jonin, not some punk that got lucky versus a Hyuga. My choices are none of your concern. Just know that I choose he is the one I will fight, this invasion is not my priority. Arena floor. Naruto appeared in a red blur, or as he called it, a Kurama Shunshin, as it was a simple Shunshin that he used the Biju's chakra for. He looked around, seeing that not everyone was in their seats yet, he decided look around to see where everyone was. Jiraiya was still standing next to the old man, figures, he would either be there or at a hot spring. Kakashi was staring at him, no doubt either still in shock from his new look, that he beat Neji or some other pointless thing, or perhaps he was angry about Naruto winning when Sasuke, his star pupil, had not. Oh well, he didn't care. He was already off of Team 7 anyway, he wouldn't have to deal with him anymore. Sakura had yet to notice he was on the arena floor, that or she just didn't care. She too was most likely angry that he had beaten Neji when Sasuke had lost. Ino was staring at him with the same look she always gave Sasuke, which he had to admit, he wasn't sure if that was a good or bad thing. Tenten, Guy and Lee were all aware of his presence but were all talking amongst themselves, most likely how he had beaten their strongest member. Shikamaru and Shino had made their way back to their respective teams and senseis, and were either congratulated for his loss, or in Shino's case, was listening to the idle conversation around him. Genma appeared next to him, a kind smile on his face. Don't worry kid, I got your back if this heads south. You're one of the few that do. Thank you for that, stated Naruto calmly and kindly. You know kid, you're nothing like I remember from before last month. I'm kinda diggin' it, but you should still pull a prank every now or then, smiled Genma as he balanced a senbon in his lower lip. Naruto was about to respond when he felt a huge swelling of negative emotions flare up roughly 15 feet from him. He turned and looked at the spot Gaara appeared. Did he sense me? Not even Baki can sense me. You definitely will be the one to challenge me, thought Gaara with a maniacal grin. Let's start this now, I will not wait any longer. Oh shit, I hope you're as strong as you look kid, thought Genma, the first fight of the second round. Naruto Uzumaki vs Gaara of the desert. Are both fighters ready? Both nodded, waiting for the fight to begin. Begin. Gaara lashes out with a sand spear aimed at the blonde's heart, which he blocked with the flat of his sword before he spun around and chopped at the side of the red head, only for a wall of sand to block it before Naruto retreated from another sand attack. How is the ground completely dry? There was a foot of water on it when I left. Oh well. Water style. Great collision wave. Naruto once again blasted a torrent of water out of his mouth, aimed at the sand using Jinchuriki. Gaara blocked the powerful water attack, though found his sand was much harder to control, forcing him to use far more chakra and concentration to use, as well as reacting slower. Water style. Hidden mist jutsu. Kakashi and company. That's Zabuza's jutsu, cried out Sakura, shocked to see the jutsu she almost died in. He doesn't seem to have the same control over it that Zabuza did, thought Kakashi out loud. Asuma, can you see into the mist? Questioned Guy. No, the kid made it even thicker than Kushimaru's. How much chakra does he have? Arena. Gaara was starting to panic, his sand was becoming almost impossible to control and he couldn't make any more due to the fact that the ground was covered in water. Add the fact he could no longer see or hear his opponent, which should be impossible as though we're standing on water, and you have one frightened redhead. 1, 2, I'm coming for you, sounded a demonic Naruto from everywhere at once. Everything was silent as they felt chills crawl up their spine. 3, 4, I'm coming back for more. Gaara suddenly felt his sand struggle to his back, barely blocking a heavy blow from the blonde's giant blade that would have cut the Suna Jinchuriki in half. 5, 6, throw some blood in the mix. Gaara, fearing another strike, began coating himself in his drenched sand, trying his best to shake the water out of it so that he could use it more effectively. 7, 8, death is your fate, a vicious killing intent rolled out of the mist, turning the chill crawling up everyone's spine turned into a blade of ice stabbing into their hearts. 9, 10, the sound of metal slashing into earth sounded, Gaara felt a pain in his left bicep. He looked to see the giant blade stuck about an inch into the sand, blood running down the face of the giant cleaver. He followed the blade and saw his opponent holding it. Let's play again. Naruto ripped the blade free as he slid it along the wound, forcing Gaara to shriek in pain. Blood. It's my blood. I'll kill you. Everyone was now confused as to what was going on inside the mist as almost had been hearing was a demon singing some kind of nightmare tune, though some Jonin could hear the footsteps on the water, even I just barely, and were very impressed that a genin had so much stealth. Naruto felt another great wave of negative emotions as muck started growing up from the ground, surrounding the injured redhead. Sending some more of Kyuubi's chakra to his eyes, he saw that Gaara now had his whole left side covered in wet sand, his left eye was now a gold diamond with a black backdrop. Suddenly, the mist exploded outward as the Shukaku-induced Gaara flared his chakra, as well as drying the sand around him. Come Uzumaki. Make me feel alive. Naruto knew the fun and games were over and began channeling Kurama's chakra throughout his body, going straight to the maximum amount he knew he could handle. His body was encased in a red, almost orange glow as his cloak billowed in a non-existent wind. He was going to end this right now. Naruto shot forward at low Jonin speed, but had to dodge a sand that extended out towards him. He spun, cutting it off as he moved quickly towards the sand-covered shinobi. He watched as the sand that had made up the arm returned quickly to Gaara and began to coat his left side, encasing most of Gaara's torso in sand. Naruto saw that Gaara was getting out of control, sending another chop at the injured arm of the Suna Nin. Naruto began leading him out of and away from the stadium. Shit, I can't put everyone in danger if he goes full-blown Shukaku. I need to lead him away, thought Naruto as he lunged and punched the wall on the opposite side of the spectator boxes, blowing out a large section of the wall and began running. Where are you going, Uzumaki? Don't you run from me, shouted Gaara as he took the bait, following Naruto out of the stadium and up the face of the Hokage monument. With Hiruzen. Cage Dono. What exactly is going on? Questioned the Hokage in a neutral tone, even though on the inside he was quite pleased. That was fantastic. I still have chills up my spine. My word, what a great intimidation tactic. I believe someone should be added to the bingo book. It appears that Gaara is embracing his inner demon and that your shinobi has led him away from the city. Quite the ninja you have there, stated the Cage, silently questioning why Orochimaru hadn't signaled the invasion yet. And if my shinobi cannot stop your son? Questioned Hiruzen. Even if Naruto had improved greatly, he was still going up against a Biju-crazed genin. Then I shall step in. Do not worry, Hokage Dono, I won't let my son hurt any of your shinobi other than the one currently fighting him, lied the Cage, sending a glare at Orochimaru. Gaki's good, but I don't think he's good enough to stand up to an enraged Jinchuriki, stated Jiraiya. If things go south, I will be saving my apprentice. Jiraiya then took off, along with Genma, following the two boys up the Hokage monument. Go make sure he doesn't try anything until the fight is over. It would not look good for us if our best genin was beaten, stated the Cage, though his tone said, make sure you don't this up. Orochimaru, who was hidden as a masked guard to the left of the Cage, simply nodded and followed his old teammate to the top of the Hokage monument. Perfect, even if Gaara doesn't kill him, I still can. Then I can start the invasion and finally kill Sarutobi-sensei. With Kakashi and company. That was the single most frightening thing I have ever experienced, stated Ino, her voice finally coming back to her. Why is he running away? He could have beat him. Questioned Kiba, still sweating from the demonic lullaby the blonde had sang. Please, if Sasuke-kun couldn't beat him, the Naruto Baka can't either, stated Sakura, though her shaking shoulders and frightened tone showed clearly that even she didn't believe what she was saying. You're both wrong, stated Shikamaru. Naruto isn't running, he's led him away so that innocent people don't get hurt. And Naruto is much stronger than Sasuke. He always has been, even in the academy, Naruto always improved at the same rate Sasuke did, even though Naruto had no one to learn from outside of school and was always taught wrong by the instructors. Yay, right. Sasuke was Rookie of the Year, stated Sakura, her voice back to its usually tone, though she was still shuddering every few seconds. And who is it that managed to prank every teacher? Who is it that was escaping Anbu at the age of 10? Who is it that somehow managed to pass every class, even though the teachers made him sit out of every single important lesson we ever had? Questioned Shikamaru, making everyone rethink the blonde, but none more so than Sakura and Kakashi. Hey, that's right. Naruto always had to sit in the hallway during important lectures or sit out of physical classes because of his pranks. But then how was he able to improve? He's an orphan. Is he really talented enough that he taught himself everything? Thought Sakura, her mental picture of her blonde teammate shattering. He was held back, but the report said that he was given special training by the best of the academy. Even I couldn't have made genin by myself, thought Kakashi, growing sick with himself at the way he handled his team. I should have known. The second I started teaching them all the same, Naruto began catching up much faster than should have been possible. I always just figured that the extra training he got at the academy was showing through. Extra training he never got. Kakashi looked up at the top of the Hokage monument, seeing brown-covered ninja and an orange-covered ninja fighting it out. And now he's fighting a Jonin-level opponent toe-to-toe. How could I have been so foolish as to think that he was talentless? Hokage monument. Naruto had stopped using his sword, as he was far too slow to do any damage with it when his opponent was the same speed as he was. Now he was sending supercharged punches and kicks at the sand-covered Jinchuriki, blowing off huge chunks of sand and causing heavy damage anywhere he hit flesh. Gaara took a hit to his injured bicep and jumped back, making some space. You're strong, Uzumaki. I've never been injured before and you've managed to do it multiple times. Though that ends here, now you die. Feigning sleep technique. Gaara fell limp as sand exploded around him, forming the giant form of Shukaku, who yelled out in glee, "Yeah! At long last, I'm free. Oh shit! Summoning jutsu!" shouted out Naruto. A cloud of smoke matching Shukaku's height revealed a massive scarlet-red battle frog. "Hello again Naruto, need my help?" asked Gamaken as he looked around, spotting the one-tailed Biju. "Ah, I see, you're fighting Shukaku. I thought he was sealed." "He is. His container let him take over," stated Naruto, hoping that Gamaken wasn't as clumsy as he always says. "Oh Gamaken, it's time to play. Hold on tight Naruto, we have to wake up his container, and I am quite clumsy," stated Gamaken as he lunged forward, swiping at the Biju with his spiked Sasumata, catching the giant Biju on its right arm, tearing it off, only for another one to grow in its place. "I'm going to try and pin him, if I can, wake up the container." Gamaken once again lunged forward, then to the side as he dodged several wind blasts from the large raccoon. Finally maneuvering around the sand blasts and inside Shukaku's guard, he slammed the Sasumata around the Biju's throat, picking him up and slamming him to the ground, picking him up again holding the Biju of the ground. "Quickly, I won't be able to hold him for long." Naruto nodded and jumped off the large toad's head, landing on the head of the Biju, and took off towards the limp body of Gaara. Dodging spikes of sand that shot up in an attempt to stop him, Naruto made his way to Gaara and smashed a punch into his injured arm. The pain forced Gaara awake, though in his pain-filled state. He couldn't tell that he was now falling at an incredible rate. He hit the ground with a wicked thump, his legs crumpling into his chest as he felt his ankles dislocate from the awkward landing. Naruto landed about 10 feet away and dropped to a knee, the smoke from Gamaken's departure behind him. With his sword in his right hand, he moved towards Gaara, who was crawling away from the blonde. "Stay away from me. It's almost unbearable, isn't it?" asked a stoic Naruto as he walked towards Gaara, the feeling of being all alone. Gaara's eyes widened as he stopped crawling. His fragile mind reliving all the scorn, loneliness, hatred. Naruto, with tears in his eyes, continued, "I know that feeling, I've been there, in that dark and lonely place. But now, there are others, other people that mean the world to me. I care more about them than I do myself and I won't let anyone hurt them. That's why I refuse to give up. I will stop you, even if I have to kill you." "But why?" questioned Gaara. "Why would you do this for anyone but yourself?" "Because, they were the ones that saved me from myself, they saved me from my loneliness, they were the only ones to accept me for who I am. They are my friends," stated Naruto as he placed the sword on his back. "We're the same Gaara. You can be saved just as I was. I'll be your friend Gaara, and I'll validate your existence." "You would be my friend?" asked Gaara, his voice shaking. "Not only me, but your brother and sister too," stated Naruto. He pointed to Temari and Kankuro, who had appeared behind the downed form of Gaara, horrified that anyone could take down their little brother and still be standing. Gaara looked at his brother and sister, who were gazing at him odd stares. "Would you really be my friends? Even with everything I've done?" Temari was the first to respond, her eyes softened and her voice calm and kind. "Gaara, you're our little brother, of course we would be your friends, we're family, we love you." Kankuro just smiled and nodded. Gaara looked between Naruto and his family, his gaze grew dim as he began crawling towards his family, who quickly rushed to help him up. As they held him up, Gaara turned his head to the blonde. "Thank you Naruto Uzumaki, for saving me. Go to your cage, Sand and Sound are planning to invade." Naruto's eyes widened, his heart raced as he once again began channeling Kyuubi chakra, sprinting back to the stadium. About halfway down the face of the monument, he was met by Jiraiya and Genma. "Congrats kid, you won the match," stated Genma, running as fast as he could, stride for stride with the orange chakra-cloaked blonde. "No time, pervy sage," Gaara said that Sand and Sound were planning to invade. Crewed out Naruto as he made it to the bottom of the cliff face, collapsing into heap as his body finally gave out. "Kit, stop channeling my chakra. Your body is starting to break down." "Naruto, are you alright?" questioned Jiraiya. "Yay, go tell the old man about the invasion." "I'll be fine," stated Naruto as he fell out of consciousness. Tenzo appeared, the Sand siblings following him, and he picked up Naruto. "It's okay Master Jiraiya. I'll bring Naruto to his home." These three all confirm that Sand and Sound are planning to invade and have asked for asylum until the invasion is over. Jiraiya nodded. Okay, take Naruto to his parents' home, bring those two with you. Me and Genma will head back to the stadium with Tamari. If Sand and Sound don't invade, her match is next anyway. Chapter 6, Jonin. My new beta is the coolest. Naruto rolled out of his bed and landed hard on the floor, waking him up. Looking around, he couldn't help but try to remember the last time his room had been so clean. Hell, he didn't even know that he had red carpeting. Wait, I don't have red carpeting. Where am I? Thought Naruto as he sat up, surveying the room that he had been sleeping in. Hey Kurama, where am I? And why do I feel so sore? Because you used too much chakra. Your muscles couldn't handle being infused with as much of my chakra as you pumped through them, and they started to break down. Thankfully, you're already healing, so the most you should be feeling right now would be like the after effects of a serious workout. That's good. Does that mean I'll be faster and stronger? No. In fact, you will probably be a little slower and weaker. Your muscle were breaking down. I'm not sure if you lost anything, but you certainly didn't gain anything. Shit, stated Naruto as he stood up on wobbly legs and began inspecting the room he was in, finding it somewhat dusty, as if it hadn't been lived in for a while. Don't worry, Kit. Your body is adapting to the strain already. Soon you shouldn't suffer any ill effects at all. Thanks Kurama, go ahead and get some rest. Naruto looked over the room. He began feeling an odd sense of familiarity, as if he has been here before. The red carpet, red walls, cherry oak dressers, even the picture. Naruto all but ran to the dresser on the right side of the bed, where there sat three pictures. One was a beautiful redhead and a very well-endowed blonde, the next was a small red-headed girl with a very old red-headed woman. The last was old man Sarutobi and the beautiful redhead standing in the Hokage's office. Sarutobi was smiling at the camera while the redhead was smirking and pointing towards her black headband with a red leaf symbol. Mom. This is my mother. This is my mother's room, stated Naruto as he started crying. He moved towards the doorway, opening the door and started walking down the hallway. The first door he came to was a linen closet, the next was a bathroom. The next room Naruto entered forced him to his knees. The walls were blue, clouds painted on the ceiling, there was toys in the back left corner, dresser and mirror on the back wall. And a small crib that looked to be made out of the best wood money could buy. This was supposed to be my room. She loved me. Someone loved me. Naruto got up, walked over to the crib, and sat down next to it, leaning against it carefully, making sure not to break it. This was how Jiraiya found him almost an hour later. I see you found your room. Like it, Gaki, stated Jiraiya from the doorway, startling Naruto, who in his joy-filled state had all but shut himself off from the outside world. She loved me, pervy sage. I had a home. No, I have a home, stated Naruto happily as he rushed to Jiraiya, tackling him into the hallway, crying tears of joy into his chest. You ain't kiddin', Gaki. Your mother loved you with all her heart. So did your father. I still remember him fumbling around trying to put that damn crib together, stated Jiraiya with a laugh. Smartest man I've ever known, couldn't put that thing together to save his life. Why, you know who my dad is? Who is he? Where is he? Questioned Naruto as he got up off of Jiraiya. I knew your father better than anyone, well, except for your mother, those two were quite the pair. I'll tell you more when we get back. You have a meeting with Sensei in 10 minutes, and with your injuries, I doubt you can make it there by yourself, stated Jiraiya as he led Naruto outside, where Naruto saw the outside of the small home. Jiraiya once again spoke up. They had lived in a tiny one-bedroom apartment before they moved in here about a month before you were born. He said that there was no way his apartment would be safe for a baby. Hell, I'm surprised you lasted as long as you did in that dump. Wait, my apartment was. That's correct, Gaki. Your dad lived there from when he was a kid till he made Jonin, and some time after that. Though he cleaned the place out when they moved here, stated Jiraiya. Now come on, we have to be there soon, and I don't want too late. Unknown location. So this Gaki can already use his beast chakra? Asked a blue-skinned fish man. Yes. Zetsu reported that he is at least Jonin's speed and power when he uses Kyuubi's chakra, stated a dark-haired teen with Sharingan eyes. Perfect, you're way faster than that, and I'm way stronger than that. He won't be a problem at all, especially after I shave his legs off, stated Kisame with his patented shark-like grin. Do not underestimate him, Kisame. He defeated the One-Tails Jinchuriki with only moderate difficulty. He also seems to have taken after your old teammate. He even calls himself the Demon of the Hidden Leaf, stated Itachi in his same monotone voice. Who cares? I'm the best water jutsu user there is, and there's no way the Gaki is better with a sword than me. Even if he was, the only sword that can handle Samahata is the Kubikiribocho, a sword the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki now possesses and wields in a devastating tandem with the Hidden Mist Jutsu, silent killing and possibly chakra nature enhancements as well. Stated Itachi. He hated to admit it, but if his target could use silent killing and the Hidden Mist Jutsu, it limited him to only a handful of lower-level genjutsu and his ninjutsu. There were ways for him to get around the Hidden Mist Jutsu, though it did require setting up the battlefield as he went along. Well shit. Hopefully he's as good as you say, I wouldn't want to be disappointed. Hokage's office. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, sat behind his desk, working on some of the massive amount of paperwork that had somehow appeared on his desk after Sand and Sound foolishly invaded. At the end of the battle, less than 15 Konoha ninja lost their lives, though hundreds of Sand and Oto nin were killed, including the fourth Kazekage, who had thoughtlessly attacked the Hokage, stating that Sarutobi was nothing but an old man well past his prime. The fight was short. Sarutobi had crushed his skull in with Enma after a short taijutsu bout. Now Kakashi, Asuma, Kurenai, Shino, Shikamaru, Sakura, and Sasuke, whose arm was in a cast now, were standing before him. Good. Now when Naruto and Jiraiya get here we can begin. Already here, sensei. Came a deep voice behind Sarutobi. Everyone looked to see the Gamma Sennin on the roof outside the far left window, facing the Hokage monument. Jiraiya, how many times have I told you to use the door? And where's Naruto? Questioned Sarutobi, not sensing the usually unrelenting ball of energy he had usually sensed when the boy was in his office. Come on, old man, if you can't even sense a genin, then I think it time you hand over that hat. Sarutobi's eyes widened along with everyone else's as their eyes snapped to the far right window, where a blue cloak and blonde hair were visible behind a human-sized sword. Oh, I think I have a few years left in the tank. After all, I did just defeat a fellow Kage in combat. Now if you two would be so kind as to enter this room, we can begin, stated Sarutobi calmly, though on the inside he was still in a state of shock. Jiraiya, I can understand, he's the king of stealth, but Naruto just snuck up on me. I didn't hear him, smell him, or even sense his chakra. How is it possible to be able to hide both his presence and that of the Kyubis? To have come so far in just a month. Naruto limped his way into the room, his body still stiff from overusing Kyubi's chakra. He stood as far away from Team 7 as possible, using the massive frame of Jiraiya as a buffer to block them out as much as possible. I don't want to be anywhere near them when they find out I was taken off the team almost a month ago. Alright, now that everyone is here, I have some announcements to make. First off, would Shino Aburame and Shikamaru Nara please step forward? Shino and Shikamaru stepped forward, as Sarutobi had requested, their faces showing no emotions, Shino because he was an Aburame, Shikamaru because he legitimately didn't care about anything happening around him. Due to your performances in the exams and your efforts in the invasion, you are hereby promoted to Chunin. Shikamaru's eyes widened while Shino stayed calm, though Naruto was sure he could hear his hive buzzing louder. Sasuke was about to say something, but a squeeze on his injured shoulder from Kakashi stopped him. Sarutobi handed each boy a Chunin vest, shaking each ninja's hand and wishing them good luck in their new roles. Now onto our second promotion of the day. Naruto Uzumaki, I am promoting you to Special Jonin. Your speed, strength, and ninjutsu are all Jonin level and your tactics, along with your skill in stealth have shown greatly in both of your fights. You would be promoted to Jonin, but your genjutsu and taijutsu are still too weak for me to do so. Your kenjutsu skills also need work, stated Sarutobi with a smile on his face, which was erased by a certain duck-haired Uchiha. Why is the Dobi being promoted? And to Jonin no less? Questioned the Uchiha. He had seen the blonde idiot defeated the Hyuga, but the Hyuga was weak. Well, Sasuke, after you fell to Gaara when he dislocated the joints in your hand and arm, Naruto defeated him. Naruto was the one that found out about the invasion and defeated the biggest threat to the village. On top of that, since you obviously weren't listening to what I just said, he has showed Jonin level skill in water ninjutsu, stealth, tactics, speed, strength and summoned one of the big three toads, stated Sarutobi, his tone final and his eyes locked onto the young Uchihas. Lord Hokage, though I agree with this promotion, I must ask what will happen to my team if Naruto now has special Jonin duties? Asked Kakashi. He felt shame as he watched Naruto put his new Jonin vest on under his coat, knowing he didn't help him at all, or at least since he had watched him in Anbu. Kakashi couldn't help but draw parallels between Naruto and his dead sensei. The cloak and Jonin vest were the same, as well as the blue bodysuit, though the colors were different. Glad you asked. Naruto was, and has been, removed from Team 7 since before the finals of the Chunin exams. After several complaints into your teaching, I determined that Naruto was better off by himself. It will be determined later as to where he will be resent, stated Sarutobi, finding a strange enjoyment at the dumbfounded looks on everyone in the room, besides Naruto and Jiraiya faces. But if Naruto isn't on the team, then what will we do? Questioned Sakura. Team 7 will back up other genin teams on all C-rank missions outside the village and fill in for the clan heirs on their respective teams when they have clan business. Other than that, you are now on reserves, stated Sarutobi. Now I must ask you all to leave. Jiraiya and I have some business to attend to. Kakashi, you stay, you have a lot to explain. I'll meet you back at your house, Gaki. Oh, might want to check the basement, there is some intense material down there on ceiling, stated Jiraiya as everyone left the room. Sasuke was visibly angry, even more so than usual, at the very thought that the Dobi was stronger than him. Sakura was, for once, not following the Uchiha, her mind reliving every mean thing she had ever done to the blonde. Asuma and Kurenai were re-evaluating their own teams in their head. If Kakashi had missed the gold mine that was Naruto Uzumaki, perhaps they had as well. Alright, see you soon, pervy sage. Hey old man, you know where Tenzo is? Asked Naruto. I believe he is helping rebuild the south wall, but by now he's probably passed out from chakra exhaustion, stated Sarutobi. Naruto shot out the window at speeds only the Jonin or higher could see. Hard to believe half of his muscles are strained from that fight, isn't it? He is his father's son, stated Jiraiya. Sensei, I'm telling him tonight that Minato is his father. I'm going to be taking him with me for a while. You are his master now, Jiraiya, and as he is now granted Jonin level clearance, he can leave with you whenever he wants, stated Sarutobi. Now Kakashi, I already know that you taught them the bare minimum. Tell me in your own words why you did that, and I might let you continue to teach the other two. South Wall. Naruto appeared next to the nearly completely rebuilt south wall, kicking up a cloud of dust as he stopped. Man Kurama, how much longer until I can use your chakra without it hurting this bad? Probably a week. As long as you don't go above 5% flow you should be fine. Naruto was taken out of his internal conversation when a familiar voice reached his ears. Hey there Naruto. Congrats on the promotion to Chunin. You're one of us now, buddy. Izumo. That's a Jonin vest, stated Katetsu, sitting to the gate guard box, his eyes trained on the forest green vest of the young blonde. What? Questioned Izumo, looking at the vest in question. How did you get a Jonin vest? Simple, he was promoted to special Jonin. How's it feel to have a 13-year-old superior to you? Stated a cheery voice behind them. They turned around to see an Anbu member. Hey Tenzo. I was looking for you. Stated Naruto excitedly. Well come on, there is some people I want you to meet. Stated Tenzo. He adjusted his mask and took off towards the center of the village, Naruto following closely behind. How do you think he got a sword of the hidden mist? Questioned Katetsu, staring at the back of the blonde as he bounded away. How does that kid do half the shit he does? Konoha flower shop. Ino was in the back room taking inventory when she heard the front door open, ringing the bells that were hung above the doorframe. Just a moment. Take your time Ino, came a crying voice from the front of the store. Sakura. Questioned Ino as she scrambled out of the back room, finding her friend leaning against the counter, her face in her hands. Sakura. What's wrong? I'm such a horrible person. Sakura muttered. Ino was about to retort when Sakura looked up and smiled, her eyes puffy and her makeup running. Shikamaru, Shino and Naruto all got promoted. That's great and all, but why are you crying? Questioned Ino, her voice confused as she got behind the counter. Naruto isn't a part of Team 7. He hasn't been for a month, stated Sakura, still crying lightly. What? Why? Questioned Ino. Naruto wouldn't ask for a transfer, would he? I don't know, something about complaints and him requesting to leave, stated Sakura. What complaints could there be? You have the strongest genin team in the village. And why would he request to leave the team? Questioned Ino. I don't know. After the wave mission I started being nice to Naruto, since he basically saved mine and Sasuke's lives, but he seemed to grow more and more distant with us until the Chunin exams. Then at some point during the month break, he was removed from the team and now he's a jonin, stated Sakura. Wait, did you just say he is a jonin now? Seriously? Questioned Ino. Sort of. Hokage-sama called him a special jonin. Something about not being skilled enough to be a jonin but too strong to be a chunin, stated Sakura. But it doesn't matter anyway, now without Naruto. Is your team being disbanded? Questioned Ino. No, we're getting a new member next graduation class, until then we are on reserve, but I don't know we can even be a team anymore. With Naruto gone, there's no one to hold the team together. And if that's not bad enough, he hates me now, stated Sakura, her crying starting again. He doesn't hate you, Naruto is too nice to hate anyone, let alone you, reassured Ino. You weren't there, Ino. He stood as far away from me as possible and the only time he so much as looked towards me. His eyes were like the fires of hell, stated Sakura. Why that little? Don't worry, Sakura. My shift is over and we're closing for the day, but I'll go talk to Naruto. I'm sure that this is all a big misunderstanding, stated Ino as she walked Sakura out of the shop and locked the door behind her. Now go get some rest, you look like you haven't slept in days. I'll sort everything out with Naruto, I was going to see him anyway. Thanks, Ino, mumbled Sakura as she walked towards her home. I doubt that he could ever hate you, Sakura. And I'll prove it, and maybe get a hot boy toy as a bonus. Hokage office. So you refused to teach them anything of value until their teamwork improved, took a C rank thinking they would improve, and then when you found out that you were out of your league you pressed on anyway. To make matters worse, you come away from the C turned A rank mostly unharmed and believe that they are strong enough to take the Chunin exams. You forsake Naruto and stick him with a teacher that you know is publicly against him, train Sasuke in a stolen taijutsu style and then you teach him an A- rank assassination jutsu. Do I have all of that correct? Questioned Sarutobi, his voice cold, his eyes hard. Sir, I only taught Sasuke that move so that he could defeat Gaara, stated Kakashi. Bullshit. There were 100 ways you could have taught that brat to beat him. Genjutsu, water jutsu, hell you could have taught him that eye trick that you figured out. You were playing favorites. You wanted Sasuke to win the finals, what better way than to teach him a jutsu that many genin wouldn't use properly? Then make it so he would either face his own stunted teammate or a close-range fighter that would be weak against your student, stated Jiraiya. That's not true. Naruto should have never beaten Neji in the first place. He was hiding his strength, how was I supposed to know he was really high Chunin level? Stated Kakashi. You disappoint me, Kakashi. Even if Naruto was weak, it's your job to make him stronger. If you had done nothing, just turned him loose with a shitty instructor, I would agree that you did something right. But you gave him to a man who hated him, then go and teach your strongest student one of your best ninjutsu. You were playing favorites, stated Jiraiya as he got up and moved to the window. He's my student now. It's up to him if you can still talk to him. By the way, if you teach that Uchiha any of Minato's jutsu, I will kill you and that Uchiha. With Sasuke. Damn that Dobi. I deserve that power. How was he able to increase his speed so much in a month? And when did he gain Zabuza's sword? I know we left that in Wave. He also knows all those jutsu he didn't before. And I can't copy them. Every time I try to use one of them I end up losing control of the jutsu. Shouted Sasuke mentally as he shoved another Chidori into the training post. I am going to kill that Dobi. Then I'm going to Orochimaru. If the Dobi improved that much under a Sannin, then I'll grow tenfold, and then Itachi will fall at my feet. I won't even need to take Danzo up on his offer. Odo. Damn that Uzumaki brat, stated Orochimaru as he read over the reports of the invasion. Foolish. Suna loses a quarter of their forces in their cage. Perhaps I will send Kabuto to get some more test subjects. That Uzumaki brat needs to be dealt with. If he's anything like his father, he will be a thorn in my side. I'll have the Sound 4 kill him when they go get Sasuke. Naruto. Naruto was now sitting in his basement, looking at a seal on the wall. He had just gotten home from meeting the sword couple, Yugao and Hayate. He remembered Hayate from the preliminaries. He never would have thought the coughing proctor would be the foremost kenjutsu expert in the village, but then again, first impressions were rarely accurate. After Tenzo had informed him that the two would be training him in their off time, Naruto had been ecstatic, but now that he thought about it, he wasn't too sure. Pervy Sage said something about a training trip. If I'm not here, how can they train me? Whoever made this was a genius, mumbled Naruto as he looked at the seal that covered most of the back wall of the small house. The basement was actually a small library and office space that was lit by seals that simulated natural sunlight. There was a small corner dedicated to what Naruto figured to be taijutsu training, though there was only one dummy, and not much room to move around in. It looks like a blood seal. I bet Mom stored all kinds of great stuff in here. Naruto bit his thumb and smeared the blood over the center of the seal. With a low grumble, the back wall started to sink down, allowing Naruto to see what it had hidden. No way. But that would mean my dad was unknown. Danzo sat quietly in the dark room that was his base. In blank mask Anbu arrived and bowed before him, waiting for his orders. What have you found? Sir, the Hokage is not suspecting you in this invasion, though Master Jiraiya has informed him that he wishes to take the Kyuubi container with him when he leaves the village again, stated the Anbu. What of the Uchiha? Questioned Danzo. He has been training. He is very adept with the Hitaki's Chidori, stated the root agent. We have witnessed Kabuto of Odo spying on him. Distract Kabuto and seal off Sasuke's memories of me. I don't want Orochimaru finding out that I have offered him training, stated Danzo. He watched the man before him about to leave in a blur and motioned to wait. I must obtain the Kyuubi Jinchuriki and bring him here. Make sure that Jiraiya is not around when you do so. Actually, I'll just call a meeting with Hitaki, Hiruzen and Jiraiya, then that brat will be wide open. Dismissed. Chapter 7. Nurses and Anbu. No way. But that would mean my dad was the fourth, stated Naruto in disbelief as he looked around the unsealed room. Three-pronged kunai hung around the room, a sword was hanging on the backmost wall. A large red and gold scroll sat on a pedestal beneath the sword, two smaller one on each side of the large one. The left one was gold, the one on the right was blue. The room was an armory and library that was built by his hero, and he was now in awe at finding out he was the man's son. The room itself was nearly the size of the whole basement. Waist-high racks of books and scrolls lined the walls, and the center of the room was 10-foot diameter ceiling array that seemed to shimmer the air around it. What is that? It's not a containment seal, pondered Naruto as he inspected the oversized array. There's 10 expansion seals around the perimeter and a bilateral gravity seal in the middle. But then why are there resistance seals linked with both the gravity seal and the... He was seriously going to have to thank Jiraiya for teaching him how to at least recognize the advanced aspects in sealing, as he doubted that he would even know what those seals were otherwise. No way in hell. The fourth, my dad, made a self-contained gravity room, stated Naruto, summoning a shadow clone and having it move to the center of the seal. Naruto watched as the clone walked into the seal circle, moving slower and slower, only for the clone to crumple to the floor and poof out of existence once it reached the middle. Naruto sat shocked at the memories the clone sent back. The gravity increase is ridiculous. It's like the gravity seals that Tenzo told me about, only the whole area is like that. And it's way bigger from the inside, almost 100 feet across instead of the 10 that I see from here. I wonder. No, you're in no shape to enter that seal array. You have torn muscles all over your limbs and most of your body is strained otherwise. It's a miracle that you can even move right now. Going in a high-gravity environment such as that is asking to end up like your friend in green after my sibling got through with him. Fine. Way to ruin my fun, responded Naruto as he walked around the seal and up to the pedestal where the three scrolls sat. Might as well read the small gold one first. Maybe this was one of Dad's. Kiri. Well, I'll be damned, stated Ao, reading over an intelligence report that just came in from one of their spies. Mei-sama, you were correct to let that boy keep the Kubikiribocho. Seems he's already made a name for himself. Really? How so? Questioned Mei, her interest piqued when the young blonde was mentioned. Said blonde had been on her mind quite a bit lately, though she wasn't sure why. The boy beat a Hyuga prodigy in outstanding fashion before defeating the one-tailed Jinchuriki by using a mixture of silent killing, mind games, and I quote, the densest hidden mist jutsu our informant has ever seen. Says he also summoned a giant toad to help when the one-tail container fully transformed, though it wasn't Gamabunta, it says he was equal in height. Stated out, though I doubt the boy can actually do all of that. After all, he is just a genin, even Kakashi Hatake wasn't that skilled at that age, and I doubt he is on par with Itachi Uchiha. Don't doubt him Ao. Before I even gave him a scroll, he was Jonin level speed and strength. There's no telling what that boy will accomplish in the years to come. Stated Mei, her thoughts going back to her first time meeting the young man, and the literal ease he was able to throw Zabuza's sword around. Well, perhaps we should recruit him to join us then. Joked Ao, not even remotely serious about doing just that. It's not a bad idea. Council chambers. Why are we here? And where are those idiot civilians? Questioned Sume Inuzuka. Danzo has called this meeting. Stated Sarutobi simply, not wanting to give anything away, even though he was sure it was about Naruto's promotion, or Sasuke's lack thereof. So why don't you fill us in, old man? What could be so important that you would call a full military council meeting? Questioned Jiraiya, who stood behind Sarutobi. Danzo frowned at the disrespect the Toad Sannin always treated him with. It has come to my attention that the Kyuubi Jinchuriki not only can use the beast's chakra, but also has been promoted to Special Jonin, has been removed from Team 7 and is now your apprentice, Jiraiya. I wish to inquire why the council wasn't informed. Stated Danzo, his face staying impassive. Who cares? The kid beat a Jinchuriki and can use not only 3 of the Hidden Mist's most well-known jutsu, but can also use one of their legendary swords. The only question I have is why he wasn't made Jonin. I fail to see why there was a council meeting called over this. Questioned Shukaku, his head never moving from its position on the table. The other clan heads all agreed with him, though the elders were visibly displeased with the lazy Naru's comment. The council has been called because the boy possesses an imminent threat to the village. If he can use its chakra, then he can be influenced by it. If he can be influenced by it, then he could lose control of the beast and end up losing control entirely or worse, release it. Stated Danzo, a small smirk played out on his lips. He's not being influenced by the beast. That seal is as strong as the day my former student put it on. I checked it this morning. Plus the fact that everyone in this room has already been informed of his special Jonin status, as well as the advancement of both Shikamaru Nara and Shino Aburame. Stated Jiraiya, his eyes narrowed at the seemingly crippled old man. The only reason we are all here is so you can make a play to gain control of him. Danzo was about to retort when a loud explosion sounded from the west side of the village. In an instant, both Jiraiya and Sarutobi were out the doors, both the same thought in mind. That came from Naruto. Damn. They may get there before my men have a chance to grab the boy. With Naruto. Sarutobi and Jiraiya arrived to find Naruto was covered in blood, unconscious on the ground outside his house. There was a clear path where a line of trees had been vaporized, as well as what remained of 5 bodies littered around the young blonde, 2 missing heads, 1 missing his left leg with Naruto's sword run through his chest and 2 that had been cut in half. What the happened here? Questioned Jiraiya as he observed the area around his godson before moving to Naruto's side and checking his vitals, which thankfully, were normal. It looks like none of this blood is his, though there is no way to be sure. I'll take him to the hospital. Anbu. Commanded Sarutobi. In less than a second, 4 Anbu had appeared around the old man. Seal the village and nobody enters this immediate area. I want the bodies taken to Inoichi and Ibiki. This area must be searched for any wounded that could answer our questioning. Then I want this entire area catalogued for any other clues. This attack on Naruto's life can't be a coincidence after the Chunin exams and I need to know who is responsible. Move. With Naruto at hospital. Naruto stir awake in the lumpy hospital bed. The moment he regained consciousness, he was out of the bed, up on his feet and his hands were flashing through hand seals. Naruto. It's okay, you're safe. Stand down, commanded Tenzo from the corner of the room, running his own hand seals to restrain the blonde in case he couldn't calm him down. The familiar voice brought Naruto back to reality. He realized that he was in a hospital room. In the room with him was Tenzo, mask on his face, and a young nurse that had probably been checking him for something, though she had a deep red blush in her face. At some point during Naruto's jump from the bed to where he was now across the room, he had lost his hospital gown, and was now standing in his hospital room. Naruto felt the floor shift and a chest-high wall emerged in front of him. The nurse shook her head and regained her composure. Why, your vitals are normal, but your chakra network is strained heavily as well as most of your muscles, stated the nurse. Her blush increasing as she examined his body, which was way too well developed to belong to a 13-year-old. Also, your throat is very raw, so you should limit your talking. I don't know what happened to cause all these injuries, but you're a lucky man to be up so soon, and you may worry someone SP special if you don't take better care of yourself. How long till I can leave? Questioned Naruto, his voice hoarse. You're going to be stuck here for a while you recover. I'll be sure to stop by and check on your recovery, Naruto-kun, winked the nurse as she walked out of the room, swaying her hips, making sure that the blonde hunk got a good view. That was weird, stated Naruto. He then grabbed his hospital gown from the floor and got back into his lumpy hospital bed. Where's the old man and pervy sage? I need to tell them something. I'll send for them. For now, just get some rest. I'll make sure nothing bad happens, stated Tenzo with a hidden smirk, though with the looks that hot young nurse was giving you. No bad, Tenzo. I need to stop being around Jiraiya-sama so much. Danzo. Explain. Commanded Danzo as he looked down one of his root ninja, laying in the medical bay of his base, right arm cut off at the shoulder, a group of med nin healing the stub. He isn't human. We had him surrounded when he just missed, appeared faster than we anticipated. The last thing I remember before retreating was the captain ordering a retreat and then losing his leg, which was when I barely escaped, muttered the crippled ninja, his mind obviously still rattled from whatever the Uzumaki had done. Is there any way you can be traced back to us? Questioned Danzo, his tone still flat. No. Captain made sure we did everything as Code 6. Good. Once you're healed, report to the genetics lab and see what they can do, stated Danzo, turning and walking away. Damn, 8 lower-level ninja and a captain lost to that brat. And now Hiruzen may be suspicious of me. This is not good. I am going to need to see that report when it's filed and make sure that nothing of value was found. With Naruto. Are you doing alright, Naruto? Questioned Sarutobi, his voice laced with concern at seeing his newest special Jonin hospitalized for the first time in 6 years. Yay, I'm good. Who were those people who tried to abduct me though? Asked Naruto, his voice less hoarse than when he first woke up. What do you mean abduct you? Actually, just tell us the whole story, stated Jiraiya, pulling out a different notepad, obviously wanting to miss any details that the blonde could give them. Well, I was just leaving the house to see if I could talk to Gaara when. Flashback. Naruto Uzumaki. You are to come with us, stated a blank masked Anbu that dropped down next to Naruto. Almost immediately, 9 more dropped down from the forest around him. Naruto began making one-handed hand seals with his left hand at speeds that few of the Anbu could keep up with, yet none recognized. His right hand flew to his sword handle, and then he disappeared into an impossibly fast-forming fog as he stated, hidden mist jutsu. Form a parameter, shouted the captain. The unknown Anbu formed up in a circle. Keep your head up. He can strike from anywhere. Especially behind you, came a phantom voice in the middle of the circle, killing intent, freezing several of the Anbu. Most fled the circle, the unlucky 2 that didn't move in time were chopped in half. You've made a terrible mistake. And now you will all die. Naruto moved at his maximum speed, not using Kurama's chakra. Another fell to a lost limbs, 2 more lost heads. Finally the captain lost his leg. Retreat. Naruto felt the remaining Anbu retreat, all in the same direction. Kurama, I need a range attack. Focus my chakra to your throat and burp. Burp. Just do as I say. Naruto built up a huge amount of Kurama's chakra in his throat, feeling it actually swell from the influx of demonic chakra. When he felt he couldn't hold any more, he opened his mouth and actually burped, a pillar of golden chakra exploded from his mouth, vaporizing the retreating Anbu and the forest around them. With his last ounce of energy, Naruto threw his blade, impaling the captain through the chest as he attempted to escape despite losing one of his legs. Naruto then fell face first, unconscious, covered in blood and filled with pain. Flashback end. At first when you said it was they wanted to abduct you, I figured this might have been a Kumo attempt much like what your mother went through in the past. However, after what you told us, I'd say this has Danzo written all over it. The timing of the meeting we were just in is too perfect to think otherwise. Gaki, as soon as you're healed we're going to leave, it's time to start your real training trip, stated Jiraiya, giving his notepad to Sarutobi and pulling out a scroll and jotting down locations he felt would be beneficial to his apprentice. Very well. In the meantime I will have Tenzo launch an investigation. Even if it wasn't Danzo, this was a wake-up call. Next day. Word had traveled fast of Naruto's hospitalization as well as him taking out several unknown Anbu. So far Team 8 and Team Guy had come by. Both Kurenai and Guy had given him gifts for making Jonin. Guy had somehow found a set of orange taijutsu sandals that had metal plates reinforcing the top and heels of his feet, as well as a list of holes that Guy had found in his fights with Neji and Gaara, for which Naruto had thanked him repeatedly. Kurenai had given him a scroll of several high chakra usage genjutsu that Naruto could actually use. At the end of the scroll Naruto found a picture of Kurenai in a very skimpy bikini. Thankfully he was alone when he found it, as he had passed out from a nosebleed. He needed to make sure that Pervy Sage never found that, or he had a feeling Kurenai-sensei would make his life a living hell. The remaining genin of Team 7, Choji, and Asuma were on a mission while Shikamaru had stopped in after finishing the clan business that had kept him from going on said mission. The boy didn't know what Ino was doing, as she wasn't on a mission and she had yet to come visit him. Currently Naruto sat in his room, while the nurse from the day before was feeding him and giggling at the disgruntled look on the blonde's face. Just then Naruto sensed someone standing at the door. And here I thought you forgot about me. What can I do for you Ino? 1 week later. Naruto stood at the northern gate, Jiraiya at his side. Team Guy, Team 8, and Team 10 had already said their goodbyes. Ino and Kurenai both giving the young Jonin a hug, though Ino had taken it a step farther and giving Naruto a kiss on the cheek. Hinata and Kiba had wished him luck on his travels. Choji and Shikamaru had gotten the blonde a jumbo pack of ramen and Shino had simply nodded to him, though Naruto could feel Shino's turbulent emotions, as well as hear his hive buzzing louder. Now Sasuke and Sakura stood before Naruto. "See you when you get back Naruto," said Sakura. She gave him a hug and whispered into his ear. "Thank you for forgiving me. I know you told Ino that you didn't hate me, but I know that on some level you did, and I am sorry. It's not in me to hate a teammate, I told Ino the truth, and I am telling you that it's okay," stated Naruto, returning the hug. Suddenly Naruto pulled his sword off of his back and chopped Jiraiya's notebook in half. "Don't you use this in your smut Pervy Sage. You're no fun Gaki," stated Jiraiya with a pout, pulling out another notepad and transferring his precious research. "Sasuke, how are you doing?" questioned Naruto, who had gotten the chance to read the mission report and found out that Sasuke had gotten his first kill on the mission he just got back from. "Don't you worry about me Dobi. I'd be worried about falling behind me," stated Sasuke with a smirk, though Naruto could feel his emotions swirling violently. "Just you wait Dobi. By the time you get back Orochimaru will have made me stronger than you could ever be. Then he'll finally be strong enough to kill my brother. You're on Sasuke. Just don't die on me," stated Naruto. "I'll see everyone when I get back." Jiraiya and Naruto turned and made their way down the road away from the village, the glare off of Naruto's sword blinding the group as disappeared into the distance. Odo. You are to go to Konoha, obtain Sasuke Uchiha and kill Naruto Uzumaki. Your first priority is Sasuke, he must be brought here, no matter what. If you run across the Uzumaki kill him, stated Orochimaru. Before him stood the Sound 4. You cannot be caught. Kill anyone who finds you, do not draw unnecessary attention. Hi, Master, responded all of the Sound 4 before taking off on their 2-day journey. Sir, are you sure it was wise to send them? None of them are above high Chunin in speed and none of them are good enough to face Uzumaki unless they use the second level of the Curse Seal, and even then only Kidomaru can fight without his eyes," stated a worried Kabuto, knowing full well how dangerous a swordsman that wielded a sword and the jutsu of the mist could be. "I think you overestimate him, Kabuto. After all, he is a genin, maybe chunin. He has no real power," stated Orochimaru, scoffing at the very thought of Minato's brat being stronger than his personal guards. "Even if the brat is strong enough to kill one of them, I can just send Kimimaro." "Sir, did you read the latest report?" questioned Kabuto carefully, not wanting to anger his master, yet wanting to make sure he knew all the risks that the blonde posed. "Why would there be a new report?" questioned Orochimaru dangerously, his eyes narrowing at his most trusted subordinate. "Well sir, our spy reports that the Uzumaki is a special jonin now. And he's leaving with Jiraiya to train. Iwa. In an old run-down building on the south side of the village, several councilmen and high-ranking jonin were meeting about an issue of grave importance, at least to them it was important. "I believe you all know why you are here today. That old fence-sitter has decided that we should forget the past and just overlook the fact that that bastard Minato Namikaze has a son," stated an elderly councilman, hate evident in his voice. "I say we hunt the little bastard down and kill him. Our village suffered enough with what that monster did to all our families, let's get back at him by killing his only kid," shouted a Verdant Jonin. "There's a problem, he's extremely powerful. He was able to defeat a Hyuga in hand-to-hand combat and has Zabuza Momochi's blade, plus he's the container of the Kyuubi, and can use its power. He even defeated the One Tail with its power and summoned Gameiken, which means that he is being trained by Jiraiya of the Sannin," stated an informant that was at the Chunin exams. Everyone paused at that information. If the kid could summon Gameiken, then he was no doubt being trained by Jiraiya of the Sannin, and would most likely be close by whenever they decided to attack. "We're going to need Han and Roshi." Chapter 8, Valley of the End, Part 1. 5 days later, Valley of the End. Naruto and Jiraiya had not made much progress. Naruto was working on his chakra control and wind manipulation with clones while he himself was working lightly on reflexes, speed and the Rasengan. In the meantime Jiraiya was working out how to maximize Naruto's training, as they had just made it to the border of Rice Country earlier in the day. They were moving slow for the time being, as Jiraiya wanted Naruto to be as combat ready as possible before they moved into Rice Country. Hunting down Orochimaru and any information about his activities would be complicated if Naruto was still slowed down by injuries. "Hey pervy sage," called out Naruto from his spot on the head of the first Hokage statue, thinking that maybe sitting on the head of the mammoth statue, he would gain some of the Mon's knowledge. So far, nothing had happened. "No Gaki, I'm not teaching you any more until you can form a complete Rasengan. And I don't have any more tips for you," stated Jiraiya from the edge of the cliff next to the falls, a scroll in his left hand and a brush in his right. "Why does everyone call you a sage?" questioned Naruto as he looked back at the empty balloon in his hand. Jiraiya was silent for a minute, unsure of how to answer the question. "Well, that was unexpected. If I told him he would want to learn it. But would he need it? If he can fully harness the Kyuubi's power then sage mode won't help at all." Naruto asked Kyuubi what he knows about nature chakra and if his chakra could mix with it. "All right," responded a confused Naruto. "Hey Kurama. You hear that?" "Yes brat, I did. Get comfortable, this is going to take a while." Hokage's office. "You called for us Hokage-sama?" questioned Shikamaru as he and Shino walked into the office. Last night at roughly 11 o'clock, Sasuke Uchiha was reported to have left the village by Sakura Haruno. "She did not say if he left of his own free will or if he was taken," stated Sarutobi. Both of the boys' eyes widened at the information. "I am assigning both of you as co-squad leaders. Your mission is to gather any available genin and chunin to assist in the recovery of Sasuke Uchiha. I have already sent for reinforcements from outside the village. Get a Hyuga and an Inuzuka squad member, as you will have to track him down. You will leave from the north gate in 1 hour." "Dismissed." "Hi." Both responded before darting out of the office. "This is very troubling. There is only 2 places Sasuke would run to. Itachi or Orochimaru. I will have to contact Itachi. If Sasuke falls into Orochimaru's hands, then the deal with Itachi will be null and void. Hopefully it does not come to that. But I must prepare in case it does," thought Sarutobi gravely. "Bore." Bring me Danzo Shimura, now. With Naruto. Naruto had been in a trance for about half an hour when Jiraiya felt a presence above them. Looking up he saw a Konoha messenger eagle. Calling it down and sticking his arm out, the eagle descended, slamming into the toad Sanin's arm. After a wince, Jiraiya took the scroll from its leg and shooed the messenger bird away. I wonder why Sensei sent an eagle. Did he come up with something regarding the attempt on Naruto? Wondered. Jiraiya opened the scroll, his eyes widening at the information. Sasuke defected. Didn't he? Asked the blonde from his lotus position. He has felt the bird and then felt Jiraiya's emotions spike moments later. I figured he would. Ever since the Chunin exams he's been giving signals that he would. I was just too stupid to do anything about it. With Sasuke. So I take those pills and it will give me full control of my seal. Questioned Sasuke, his suspicion of the 5 people in front of him being clouded by the desire of more power. After all, he was able to destroy those Oto Genin when he used the seal, it would no doubt make him stronger. That'll show the Dobi. There's no way he will be able to beat me with this seal, then I can take on Itachi. Yep. And because you have the cursed seal of heaven, you will gain the biggest boost possible, stated Jirobo, his face passive. If you were, say, mid-Chunin level now, which I think you are, you will be roughly high Chunin with the first level, low Jonin in speed and strength when you activate the second, stated Karen, a red-headed, red-eyed girl that had yet to take her eyes off of Sasuke.